All right, all right. Let me see if this is still working. Oh, I haven't done one of these on my own for so long. But hey, I gotta shake the cobwebs off. But anyway, hey yo, what's good? Happy New Year. And yes, this is what I call a Saturday night puff and talk, where I talk to you and I'm puffing on a cigar. Now I'm not gonna be on here for very long, maybe about an hour and a half or two, just to, pretty much do a little check in just to let y'all know, hey, I'm back up in this thing. So yeah, just a sec. Let me see if okay, so look like I haven't lost my touch on that. So yeah, that's pretty much, getting my take. Yeah, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Carl? Long time no see. Wait, no, well, actually, I'm gonna have to track that because I was on Brown and Beige stuff the other night and turned out to be a pretty good one. And just so everybody knows, hey, I'm 38 now. Yep, I'm 38, and long and behold, not that far off from being 40. Hope everybody had a good holidays and even a new year. Hopefully, it'll be better than the previous. But nah, though, I also wanted to also say things that I kind of didn't really get a chance to say on the on last night's stream in regards as to how we can also improve relationships, and not only just relationships, but pretty much just dynamics on how we interact with one another. Besides from, just pretty much, again, calling out the unfortunate ruckus and mayhem and chaos that leaves everyone in this confusion and in this funk that we're still in today, and we're still trying to combat. But a lot of these influences just got to have their input into the mix for some reason. And another thing, what I also want, and I think I may have said this already, but I'm also update it a little bit and say that just because we may see eye to eye, well, not see eye to eye on things, doesn't mean we hate you, and I hope the feeling is mutual, or that don't mean we don't like you. Just means that hey, we got two differences and opposing views on how we look at the world. And no, I don't believe that it should be a type of ruler measuring contest every time there's always a clash or a conflict. Wouldn't you agree? But at the end of the day, still don't change the fact that we're human. And oh, just a sec. I see they also did what you call it, a bit of updating themselves. I'm talking StreamYards here while I was away. And I was just doing this just basically off on the limb. Hey, I'm bored. So I'm just killing some time for me to get ready to, go out and do some things tonight. So I figured, why not necessarily get my warm up in? Oh, and and you're going to think that I'm kidding, but I just happened to just sign into to Chat GPT a little bit last night before I went to bed. And some of the questions that I was asking, oh boy. Only if you knew. And of course, you'll have those that be like, oh, well, why are you talking to that anyway? Um, Not all of it is going to be valid. I didn't say that. But if you had the amount of information that they had, more than likely I would have been going to you for this stuff. And especially when regarding that the one drop rule. And I was just, again, like I said, I was gonna do a little bit of discussion on it and on how it really sort of kind of impacted MLS people as a whole. And some of those answers, I was kind of like, never thought about it that way. But at the same time, you do have to also look at it from the standpoint of history, though, which I don't know what kind of and again, which is like, well, it all depends on which history you're referring to. Well, the history where there was no such thing as the internet, there was no such thing as Ancestry 23, there wasn't even any video games or DVD players where technology wasn't the best. You really couldn't necessarily come up with certain research and it would take less than a week. That's what I'm referring to. Now, in the 20th, 21st, 22nd century, things isn't really necessarily the most difficult, but at the same time, it's not necessarily the most simplest at best. And unfortunately, again for mixed men, um, we were always seen as a threat, and the women, I mean, they were seen as a threat too, but not so much. They were used in other aspects, such as being a resource. Now, I won't necessarily say that, I'm just gonna base every talking point or everything that I'm saying. Hell, you may even have questions in the chat. Go ahead, write them down, ask them. And this was pretty much was set up by design. Even though it was supposed to be an impact on non-white folks, but we somewhat happened to sort of be that missing piece to the puzzle. So basically, they knew what they were doing. Oh, but okay, I see we got a special guest. What's going on with you, bro?
There we go. Mike was muted. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, man. Yeah, I checked y'all out last night, you and B, and it was good to listen to the stream and how you guys broke down everything. Man, I just happened to see you pop up and that you went live and you're just saying what's up, man, and continuing the discussions and like y'all were saying the other night, good to see the youth and the younger, especially MLS men stepping up to the plate and getting their words of encouragement and information and all those things out is great to see. Um, it's great to see, yeah. So, but yeah, for me, I may be at that point past where a lot of those guys are, but like like a while back, hopefully, I don't know if it was basically directly or just the energy that we put out is why we see a lot more of this carrying on the way it has, as far as momentum. So just because some stop that came before doesn't mean the journey doesn't continue. So
Yep.
that's kind of how I've been seeing things in the space. But it's great to see. Like I said, it's great to see people with fresh perspectives, the younger people with their perspective on modern times and how they look at the past, even how they look at like my past, or not my past personally, but just my era, and put it into perspective. It's very interesting to listen to and hear. Very interesting. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, what's going on? Third option party.
Yeah, I see. I heard what you were saying before about StreamYard. I can't remember the last time I streamed, but yeah, the interface. I'm not logged in. Maybe that's it. But
Yeah, they kind of like did a little bit of some, what do I call it, updating or upgrading in
yeah,
regards to like doing certain things. Like it was just so simple. So now you don't know the moment that you press the wrong thing, it'll
Boot you
easily
out.
knock you, drop you off,
Yeah,
and then you gotta
if
hit
you're
the
not
rinse and
signed in,
repeat button, and it's like, oh,
if you're not signed in, it's like one screen's overlapping the next. So I'm seeing that now. No, that's on I gotta switch over my YouTube accounts to log into my other account. Oh, there we go. I have to mute it. My other account. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, so I got my phone and my computer, but I'm not logging to my phone here. So, but I can see everything like in the chat from my computer. It's a lot
oh,
better.
okay.
It's a lot better that way. And then talking on the phone. But yeah, man. Yeah. So what's been going on with you, bud?
I'm just again just chilling. Just turned 38 last month.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday, brother.
Thank you.
I heard you earlier saying you creeping closer to 40. So
Yeah.
God bless that. I'm halfway through it. As they say, it gets later greater, but just make sure you take care of yourself. And
Absolutely.
just
Absolutely.
every faction for several reasons. We talk about the MLS part, but just as a human being, as a man in general, like taking care of yourself as you get older, that's all you have is your health, and you feel it more about where you're at least I did, about the age you were at up until now for me at 45. So I'm like, yeah, I definitely know why exercise and sometimes fasting and all of that stuff is just huge, because like when it comes to like the society at large and the end game of how we're living, especially in these days and times, you don't know how long you're going to have to sustain a certain level of how your day-to-day life is. It may be 30, not 30, it may be 13 years, it may be 30. So health is wealth, as they say, and that's ever so true.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, to go off topic a little bit, you remember TK Carter, the
Yeah, on
comedian?
TikTok I saw he passed away. Yes, I used to see him in a lot of the old black TV shows and sitcoms. Yeah, I didn't know how old he was. I figured maybe he was close to 70, which he was. I think he was like 65, 67. But yeah, I don't know how he passed, but I mean, at that age, and if he was in fairly good shape, maybe it was something else outside of natural causes. I'm not sure, but I did see that run across my TikTok today.
Yeah, and even I was kind of like thrown. I'm like, what? Not TK.
Yeah, yeah, yep,
Because I'm just like, yo, it's just pretty much getting to the point to where you just guess anybody can really go at this point,
yeah,
and and time waits for no one.
yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. I thank the Most High every day for every day I get. Whether it may be a tough one or a simple one, all the same to me, all the same. You know,
Most
and the
definitely,
blessings that I have. So that's been my perspective. But like you were saying, and I was saying, as you get older, it becomes more imperative every day, every day. Not even a job. I'm not even. That's not even an understatement. Like every day. Staying out of the way and being thankful for where you're at.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, though, but oh no, to third option party. It was saying, well, I asked Chat GPT, um, in regarding the one drop rule on how it affected us directly, as opposed to other non-whites. That when it came to like certain privileges and certain things that you were necessarily dealt with in regards to the issues that we talk about now, they put us in it. it had a little paragraph where we were labeled as a threat. The men were, but the women, I mean, they were somewhat seen as a threat too, but they were pretty much what you would call a resource, a special resource.
Yeah, I
Meaning
mean,
meaning that you get the verge of having these protections and access, but unfortunately, it wasn't necessarily the best kind of access
mm,
in a lot of times.
yeah, yeah,
Meaning that they were really trying to like maintain the power structure by any means necessary.
mm-hmm.
Meaning that there's like you can have the DNA, you can have blood, but blood doesn't to the to the white power structure. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Meaning
yeah,
you can have their DNA, you can have their blood within you, but when it comes to power, that's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation right there. As
yeah,
long as you don't own anything,
and
as long as you don't,
control,
yeah, it's a control.
and,
Yep, definitely a
and even big,
control mechanism.
and even bigger than the control. Well, control is control, but that's all a part of it. Enforcement, like enforcement, is the biggest thing. Enforcement is the reason why people hesitate from going to other levels of balancing out things right now. Is because of lack of being able to enforce. We got the Second Amendment and so forth, but that's mainly like a lot of people say, that's not just to carry protective arms or bear arms, but it's to bear arms against a tyrannical government and have the right to do that. That's in the Constitution. But people miss that part of it, so they're just talking about bearing arms.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, that's that other level. And but I don't know, man. As far as that, um, like like I was watching another Mulatto Brothers video. Mulatto men, like, even if you got that rage in you, we're not gonna say from where, but even if you have it from time to time, you feel like it's genetic. There's also that side of peace and wanting to have balance. I think most mulatto men I know are like that, and women too. But it's always that level of wanting to balance out. And I don't think it would ever get to that point of just like, oh, you're a threat to either side. I think we're just seeking balance in ourselves, balance in the community, balance in nature and everything else. And so all these things that were brought up were really just to, like you said, utilize you for certain purposes on both sides, but never towards true harmonious human balance at all. You see
Yep.
what I'm saying? So that's how I always saw it, like a back and forth game of just nonsense. They talk about how did the world get to where it's at, and people have their theories and conspiracies and stuff. And my thing has always been, well, how did this get to this in the first place? If you were the first, what did y'all do? What happened over here? You know, whether it be biblical or scientific or whatever people might think. So, you were the leaders in the the cradle of civilization. How did it get to this point? I don't know. Was it against your will? Was it your own doing? Was it a combination of both? Who knows? But in any event, the back and forth between the sides, if you will, because it's a reality of our world. The mulatto has always been the one that's trying to, not, it's not straddling the fence. It's just seeking balance, in my opinion.
Oh,
As best
very
as
much so.
possible. As best as possible. I mean, other groups can too. You got like other groups too, but it's just something about that mix there, that type of person that is just, it just seems to shake up all, even amongst quote unquote other groups of people around the world that are non-YTOY or non-BLK unambiguous, that is, and their groups and stuff. It's just something about having that that kind of makeup that just kind of like gets at everybody, you know. That's weird. It's real weird. I think it's a reflection of what others were before they got to their state or where they come from. Me personally, and these are just my opinions, but
Well,
yeah, man.
yeah, I see that we didn't had somebody else join the panel, Invisible Man. What's
Hey,
going on with you?
hey, AMR, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Happy birthday to you,
Thank you. Thank you.
All
Carl.
right,
How you
all right.
doing?
How you doing, there, Invisible Man?
I don't think I've ever been on the panel with you, but I
No,
see
I haven't
you.
done. I haven't done panels in quite some time, typically, and I just jumped on here because me and AMR go pretty far back in the
Yeah,
space. So I just was checking him out, and I checked out the brother Brown and Bays last night. He had a stream, but
hmm
yeah, good to hear from you.
yeah. This is Thunder, AMR.
Oh, you
Oh,
know what? Because I just
okay,
keep
yeah,
I keep
yeah,
recognizing that voice, and I'm just like, oh
yeah.
man.
Okay. Yes, I watched some of your videos. I sure did when
Yeah,
you had videos up. I believe. Yeah, I'm familiar with your videos. Yeah,
yeah.
I got you. I got.
You know what? I agree with you, Carl. That I think it's not only what you said, but the fact that we were the ones to step into the void to push for certain actions in this country.
Yes. Yes.
And I think AMR, that's where the threat comes in, because, uh, and it's interesting that we can go down a list and name the people that stood in that void, like Adam Clayton Powell, Thurgood Marshall, the guy that the first Plessy, uh, and a whole host of other people. And so it was interesting to hear you say that Chat GPT labeled us a threat. That's kind of to the white establishment. That's kind of interesting.
Well, but then and not necessarily just that too. I mean, even it also while I was reading through it that they were saying that it caused uh definitely resentment within our black counterparts, and I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and-
That's why my name is Invisible Man.
I think I may end up going with that as well. Well, just call myself invisible. Well,
Right,
invisible gamer.
right. So that's what the. Also, I wanted also just I'm a health person, and I got 30 years on you. So I take my health very seriously, and so I'm in the gym 3 times a week, and then I eat healthily. And the one of the things that I can just remember growing up, this one thing sticks in my mind all the time. And I went to see my grandmother. She lived to about 92, I think, 89, 90. I can't remember. And she had this small glass on the countertop one time. And I asked, because we had gone over to see her, not on the regular Sunday that we would go over there. And she was about to eat lunch, and she had that uh, glass on. I said, "What's that? Why is that such a small glass?" And she said, "Well, that's a juice glass." And I'll never forget that the sizes of the glasses meant that's the portion that you're supposed to drink. And so, like, we've supersized everything, especially in the United States. Everything got supersized, and we forgot that juice contains a lot of sugar in it, and it's very potent sometimes. So you're only supposed to have juice in about 6 to 8 ounces per serving, but we'll just drink it like we'll buy a half gallon or and drink half of that or drink a quarter of that. And that's why we got all the problems we have, not just in the black community, but every community.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, absolutely.
so I would say, you guys, one of the things that I do is if I can walk someplace, I'll walk. I ride my bike regularly. I do resistance training. So I'm in the gym, like I said, 3 times a week. And then other times I'm trying to get some steps in. So, yeah, I appreciate that conversation that you guys had about health. It's important.
Right, because again, there was an actor slash comedian we were,
Yeah, I saw
discussing.
that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
came
yeah,
across my stream too.
and even and again, and that was the thing. It's like because when you find out that somebody that you may have seen time and time before, and they necessarily are not on TV or not really acting like they
Mm,
were when they first started, and they don't necessarily, and I guess they don't go into deep details on how their health is now,
mhm.
and we just pretty much just take whatever's given to us and we just roll with based off of that. And if something happens, then it gets reported
Right.
as usual. And
Mhm.
that was why it was kind of shocking and revealing. It's kind of shocking to me because it's like, you never really heard anything of
Mhm.
this dude ever having health issues. Well, maybe he knew, but we
Now,
did.
did it come across your feed like on mine? It said a welfare check, a welfare check-in or something. So obviously he had been living by himself, and nobody had heard from him or something, and somebody went by there to check on him.
Yeah, and he was pronounced dead.
Right. I'm wondering how that. I mean, had he fallen out on hard times or what?
Nah, they didn't. They really didn't say. They just said that he was just found, pronounced dead, and somewhere in Los Angeles and
Hmm.
in his house. And it's like, all right.
Yeah. That's what happens sometimes. So I saw that. I think it said he was like 68 or 67 or something like that. I'm not sure. I think he was in the 60s. So, but yeah, you just got to take care of yourself.
Oh, most definitely, and because because again, like even when because even at 68, I guess even for me, when I reach 68, uh,
Hmm.
I may still look again. I may look the same, or I may not. At
Like
least
I
I
said,
know that.
it's all in to me. Just for me, it's all in maintaining throughout your life, right? So I've said to my daughter, and I try to say to other of my family members, look, and friends that have people that are your age, because my daughter's 30. Just maintain. I know your lifestyle is hard sometimes because you're working all the time, but if you maintain and you never get too heavy, then it'll be easier after you get a certain amount of time, if free time, especially when you retire, to then get back into shape. And I have to tell you, I don't, this isn't the best shape I've ever been in, but I'm in pretty good shape right now. But my motto has always been, as long as I'm alive, I just want to be able to function. That is to move and to think. So that's what I base my habits on.
Fully understand that because without the autonomy, you basically don't have anything. Health and autonomy
Yeah,
pretty much don't have anything after that point.
yeah. My piano teacher used to catch. She never had a driver's license, and she lived until she was 106, I think. She always walked and caught the bus. And this is in Detroit. Even in the winter, she would be on that bus. And always she was, and she looked great. I think I saw her at a friend's place who also she taught him piano, and they were having Thanksgiving at his mother's, and we went over there and she was there. She looked the same as she did when she was teaching me as a little boy. Now, obviously, she looked older, but her physique was the same. She never put on too much weight. She didn't even go into assisted living until 102, 103. Man, I looked at her and I said, I need to adopt her lifestyle, the way she lives. And because she had a very healthy lifestyle. I don't know if music plays a part, but people say music also plays a big part in at least keeping a healthy brain.
I think so too, and also purpose,
Mhm.
purposeful living, and having a reason. It's like like the mind. The mind outputs certain things,
Yeah.
body chemical reaction that keep you going. Like
Hmm.
when people say all the time, I've watched it myself. I know I'm pretty much younger than you, Thunder, but I've watched guys, the older guys that I work with, a couple of them from previous job, and it's like within like 5 years they passed away, and they weren't
Yeah.
old either. They weren't
Right.
old. They were like 65, right over like maybe
Right.
65, like within
Right.
a, oh, such and such died. Oh, really? Wow.
Did he retire and
Yes.
then he died?
Yes.
See, that's the other thing. Like you said, purpose, right?
Yes.
So I'm trying to write a little book right now because my daughter wants me to write something on the family. And I told her I was going to do something. And so I had to figure out, okay, I don't have it in me to sit down and write a novel. That's just, that's going to be too much. So I had to research how can I get away with just putting as little on paper as I can. And I researched those little a thing called a novelette or novella,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little book that only ranges from 30 to 100 pages. And then when I was in school, I read Machiavelli, The Prince, and those pages are not of a large book. They're not of a regular size book, a novel. They're smaller pages. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to shoot for 30 pages of a small page, which is essentially probably a 15-page essay. I think I can knock that out. But that's my purpose. My purpose is my daughter, and just I enjoy life now. I have to tell you, I enjoy life. That's
That's
the
Oh
one.
other.
yeah,
That's one.
wonderful.
That's wonderful to hear because I'm far away from retiring, but the way that things are going now versus maybe where you're at as far as retirement is like night and day. I may not be able to retire
Well,
the
here's
way
the
this
deal. Here's
society
the
is.
other. Here's the other thing
Oh,
that I think should be talked about a lot because America is just stressful.
yeah.
America is stressful, and Amar knows that I've mentioned that I've been in the DR for a while,
Okay.
and the food that I eat, because I'm retired, I that's why I can do what I do and live the lifestyle I live, because the grocery store is down the street, the gym is down the street. I go to a place that's the like the equivalent of a farmer's market, and I'll buy a meal there, right? And so I'm walking to all of these places. And the other thing is that the cost of living isn't, I mean, I used to travel anyway when I was younger. So I wasn't afraid to move to a different country or spend a lot of time in a different country. But I will tell you guys and tell anybody that's listening that they ought to really consider looking into a place that's outside of the US. It'll stretch their dollar, their stress will go down. Every friend that I know that is from my hometown, and the reason I'm here is because a guy, when I told him I was going to go to Belize, and I said I'm going to Belize because it's a English speaking country, and my Spanish isn't that good. And he told me, he said, well, why don't you try and come over here to the DR? I've been going down there for 5 years. and I think you'll like it. Well, I had taken Spanish in high school and college, but I still don't even, that didn't help me because I wasn't even focused on Spanish. So I still do pretty badly in speaking it. But my point is, when you get to a certain point where I don't have a lot of money, right? But I understand that the cost of living in some of these other countries are lower, and your lifestyle is much better. Your lifestyle, once you get into the groove of everything, your lifestyle is much better. And so, like, my daughter marvels at the fact that I buy these big avocados, and they're like 90 cents, right? And they're the size, one of mine is the size of the 3 that she buys, right?
Wow.
And hers are all hard and everything, man. If I don't eat my avocado that day, it goes bad.
Yeah, like natural food should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's natural food versus what we have. So yeah, it's weird. I mean, I can't compare too much. I've been to France.
That's a beautiful place.
And they had more natural food there too, and they had a food rating system on. They didn't. You can definitely tell a difference in some things, but that's even further more natural food where you're at, or where you visited at. Yeah, it's just a more simple way of living, a more humane way of living. I would imagine. I've never gone, but I would imagine.
And you know what though, and the only place that like where I've been overseas was, of course, Mexico, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and
Mexico would be the same as almost here. It's it's a Central American country, and its food. Most of the avocados that America imports is from Mexico. So the fruits and vegetables down there are going to be great.
Yeah.
And the thing is though, and I still have those, and I still keep those pictures within my little photo book, to where it's a reminder, if I'm having let's say a hard or oppressed day, I can easily open up that photo book up and just remember, again, the good times that I had while I was down there, because it does get to the point that, sooner or later, I'm definitely going to be wanting to, venture out aside from from what I'm accustomed to in my everyday life. And my mom, around Thanksgiving, her and my sister went to France, Spain, and even England.
Oh, no.
And she took a picture with Alexander Dumas, next to Alexander Dumas.
Right.
And I was saying to her that, he looks like he could be, he definitely looks like he can be related to you.
Right.
And that's the thing, again, when you come across certain people and they look like historical figures, before our lifetime, and either it can cause some resentment, or you can pretty much take it and embrace it and learn from it to where you can become better people.
Right.
Instead of going along with the negative history that if people don't study it, they're bound to repeat it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so an author like Alexander Dumas, he's very smart, very intelligent.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, what's up, Brown and Beige?
That's a threat also,
And you know what though, and that's what it also said too, that we were destined to look for to do something in regards to better education, jobs, or even other entrepreneurial businesses or even careers. And for some they didn't very like that very much. And to me, I think they didn't like it because they probably thought of it themselves, but maybe they didn't succeed.
Yeah, well, everybody makes choices,
Yeah.
and I will be the first to admit that I made wrong professional choices. So that is leaving a job when I shouldn't have left a job, right? And then trying to go out on my own, be an entrepreneur, and it didn't work out. And then trying to get back in the job market was kind of tough. So, not to belabor this lifestyle point, but if you guys continue to work, or if you're a successful business person, but if you continue to work and you get that social security payment, and then you've got some other savings that you've put apart, you don't need a million. I know everybody, you've got these financial people out there telling you need $1 million to retire. That's nonsense, right? You don't need $1 million to retire, right? And that's another reason people go abroad. And I was going to say, Carl, you said you were in France. They got a different lifestyle too.
Yeah,
Because,
it was definitely, it was still Western, but
yeah.
it was definitely more, at least where I was at, which was where is that, Clamart
I
and
don't know what that is.
Les Plessis. What is it? It's like a subdivision near, like maybe about 20-30 minutes outside of Paris.
Okay.
Basically, from what I could see, it was like the culture was like it was definitely more relaxed. Maybe it was just because I was a suburban area. When I went into the city, of course, it was a little more,
Yeah.
touristy, tourists and stuff like that. But even so, it just didn't seem like it was like a lot. It was less aggression. It was aggression. I mean, I saw like people riding bikes everywhere,
Yeah.
and women riding bikes with like full outfits on. It was different. It was a different experience, and I was like, wow. And but I could only enjoy it for like a month. But yeah, it was definitely a
Well, that's a good
changing
amount of
pace.
time to be there for a month. That's
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was for a previous job. It was for training for a job, but I just took the advantage of
heck yeah.
doing that, and I think of it. I've moved on since from that job last year, but it was a great experience, and yeah, I got a chance to actually like be out and about, which was great. It wasn't like a week or two. I had a real chance to
Right.
like immerse myself in everything in the entire city and wherever I was at and so forth. And
So you got to experience that lifestyle that I'm kind of referring to, in that they're out riding bikes, they're
yes,
walking, because they
yes,
have a good mass transit system
yes.
too.
Yes,
Um,
they do, but a lot of people prefer to do that. I mean, on the freeways,
mm,
well, not freeways, but on the main roads, they actually had bike lanes, and buses had to yield to bicycles on the road
right, right.
behind them, and they, and it was different. It was definitely different.
Yeah, and then the other, but what? How did you find the eating over there? I'll tell you guys an interesting story. So I took my daughter. We were in, I think we were in. I'm not sure if it was Spain or France, and she was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and she says, "Dad, there's a McDonald's." And I said, I don't even let you eat McDonald's or fast food when we're in the US. What makes you think we're going to eat some McDonald's over here? So, but what I'm getting at is that they have, from what I understand, they have small refrigerators, and
Yes,
they buy their food every day. So
yes,
they buy fresh food to eat. So,
yes,
Americans, we got 1, 2 refrigerators plus a freezer. And that's why I was what I was talking about when I say supersize everything, where
yes,
they're walking after they get off work, they're walking by a store, whatever they call it,
yes.
buying food right there just for that day.
Yeah, a good thing for me was I walked to and from work every day, and it was only about a maybe 2 mile walk.
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes or so each way on a good day, maybe 25. But yeah, that definitely was a bonus to
Right.
be there and exercise every day, whether it was
Yeah.
out and about or just
Wait, because you didn't even think about it, right? It was
no. Once you get
right.
to it. It's just it's second nature.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, but I knew I was still in a Western type of country,
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
was
yeah.
totally like as lower aggression, but it was definitely different in here. Here is just and it just felt like the culture was a little more, I guess, intact uh
Hmm.
amongst everyone versus here,
Well,
where it's like everybody tries to uh overtake everybody else's culture,
hmm
in groups.
hmm
Just yeah, I didn't feel that there. It was like a
right.
French culture, and that was it.
Well, I two things come to mind about when you say aggression. One thing comes to mind, and that is American culture, especially in the Black culture. It's the mean mugging, right?
Yeah.
And the mean mugging uh, gets a lot of people into trouble. And so I had to, one of my friends over here, she saw me, probably a year had passed, and she says, "Wow, you're really calm. You're tranquilo. You're really calm now because you used to be really stressed when you first came over here. You were aggressive." And it's the American way, but more if you grew up in a city,
Ye-
then you're
yes.
really aggressive
Yes.
in the
Yes.
United States. And that's the stress that I'm talking about that
Yeah.
you don't have to deal with.
That's correct. Yeah, just understanding that, yeah, there are bigger cities across the world, but if the larger society's culture is more in unison together, as well as more active and eating healthier, and even down to the television, like the media that I saw, like
Mhm,
the top 40 music was like different, and it
mhm.
was no aggressive music
Right,
in any of that stuff. And I
right.
guess to like see if catch things on routine there, like the news, and so they had news. They talked about America quite a bit. That was right before the elect. No, that was right after the election.
Mhm,
Right after the last election last year in November.
mhm,
No, that was in November. That was end of 2024.
mhm.
And yeah, it was they may go over it, but there was a lot of things going on over there. But it wasn't like as I don't know. It just didn't seem. I didn't hear about any mass pew pewing. Um,
Right.
None of those things. You may have had some incidents occur, like domestically or whatever, but none of that was going on.
And
And
that's why the stress level is reduced over there,
yes,
right? And the other thing I have to tell you that I appreciated when I went over there, because Paris was I had been out of the country, but by myself as an adult.
yes,
Paris was one of my first places I went after my divorce. And
oh,
man, I'm gonna tell you, the I was in Paris, and the women were dressed,
yeah,
right, and the women were beautiful, and I could, if I saw a woman, I would actually say, "Hey, you look nice," and I'd say it in English because I don't even speak French, right? And I got the smiles, and the women would it wasn't like a threat to them. What are you looking at, right?
yes.
And that was like, man, that was like 35 years ago, right? And I said, I got to get the hell out of the US.
Well,
Fact.
I think well, part of that is being from the U.S. and now today I can't say that people were super friendly like that when I was there. I mean,
Hmm.
it was a lot of tourists and stuff. There's a lot of it was some Americans, and you can tell too. You can
Right.
hear.
Oh, you can listen.
Yeah,
I know you can tell an American a
yeah,
mile away.
yes, but they had to conform, regardless. But it still wasn't like you said. It still wasn't the mean mugging and other things.
Right.
Like people, from what I could see, people would like respect your space. Nobody was
Mhm.
crashing into you and walking
Mhm.
straight into you. I don't think I had any of that.
Right, right. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, because
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that's just an added level of stress that you just don't need.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah,
I would
and
love. I'm sorry. I would love to like go to like where you're talking about. I was thinking Brazil one day maybe, but I don't know what part. I can't decide. I have to do more research, but I was definitely thinking somewhere like that to check out, somewhere even further than just a Western country, to see how simple life could be, but still have some convenience or what have you, even if it's no more than a week or so. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, down here, if you're in a tourist area, you'll run into people that speak English.
Hmm.
And but I haven't been in a tourist area for a long time, and so here it's the same as when you move into a new area. It takes time for people to get to know you, right? And if you try, just like when you were in France, if you try to speak the language, then they appreciate that.
They do. I remember I was at a restaurant and I did, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I got you." And I
Right.
was, yeah, I had my translator and I brought it out, but there were some things I remember, but I was trying to do the Duolingo. But yeah, they do appreciate it.
Yeah, and
It
then
makes
then
things
they
flow a
treat you
little
different.
better.
Yeah,
Yes, they
yeah.
do. They
They
do.
treat you differently, and it is better. Um, I didn't speak Spanish. My daughter was taking Spanish in elementary school, and she criticized my Spanish one time. That's not the way you say it. So I said, "Well, you ask the waiter how to say it," and so she asked, "Man, they brought us out extra stuff. You
Nice.
mean to say that little girl speaks Spanish?" I was like, "Go ahead."
Yeah. And the irony behind that is, some that come to the U.S. don't have that same sentiment in return. See, the U.S. is the only place where you can come here and like literally try to get on an island and do what you want, and have, some have the audacity to complain about it if
Yeah,
somebody says anything. So you can't go in. I'm sure of it, because one of my major things is security, safety, especially when
mhm.
you're staying outside of a tourist area.
Right,
That's
right.
something that's like some I've heard some stories, that
Mm,
some people are saying, well, just don't be too silly and don't be too flashy and don't, respect where you're at, which is that's kind of common anywhere you go, but
exactly,
you never know. So
exactly. I
yeah,
mean, the rules of the street are the same wherever you go,
exactly. Yeah.
and if you understand the rules of the street and you do what you said, you're not flashing, and you're trying to at least appreciate the culture, then you won't have a problem. Uh, but down here, I mean, it's growing. I mean, this is people are surprised at the DR. I mean, Santo Domingo is a city of 2.5 million people.
Wow.
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 Yeah, so it is a bustling city. They're not third world. What are they?
Second,
Developing country?
maybe. I don't know.
Huh?
Maybe second. I don't know. Or
Yeah,
emerging. Maybe emerging is what they
they're
call
they're doing really well. They are doing really well. Nvidia is about to do something down here,
it. Okay.
um, and
Which is
they've really the politicians down here stress that their people need to speak English, and so more and more of the younger people are speaking English because tourism is a huge part of their economy, and because you got the Europe, not only the Americans, but you got the Europeans and the Canadians
oh
that
wow.
are down here. And the interesting thing is that the Canadians settled in a certain part, the Americans settled in a certain part, the Germans settled in a different part. And when I say settled, I'm talking about they started coming down here 50, 60 years ago, and they just all congregated in the same place.
Mm.
So it's like some of the most expensive places are where these, like the Canadians settled in the north. The Americans settled probably 60 miles east of Santo Domingo. But then you've got a lot of development, man. And so don't come. People would be surprised. I mean, they can go to the what do you call it, the vacation spots, and all that's really nice and everything. and they're going to be a lot. If you go next to that, you're going to find some poor people.
I
I'm
see.
not, they're going to be poor people, but let me tell you something. There are Range Rovers, Mercedes, Ferraris, Corvettes, any type of high-end car you want to see. You go to any number of malls around here, and they will be in abundance. They've got Gucci store, Ferragamo store. They got and that's not in the tourist area.
No.
That's in their downtown area, right? In the high rise, they're building. I just passed. I had to go to a dental appointment today, and we passed a building. It's a 37-story new condo development, and those are. I would say they've probably got about 4 of those going up in the same area, where it's like a 30 to 40-story building, luxury condos for $1 million plus.
Wow.
Going up. So you got the cash, but you don't have to live like that. And so when you want to go someplace, I would just check out, do the research, and then just jump in. I've never been to Brazil.
Yeah, me neither. So question, Thunder, how do you think, speaking of MLS, as people, I guess, then what do you think the culture would be of the integration of MLS men, going there? What kind of experience do you think they would have? All things.
Here in the DR?
Yes.
Well,
I mean, maybe a younger man. I'm not sure.
No. Let me say this. I'm at the gym, right, and the women are fine, right?
I could imagine, yeah.
The women are fine, right, and so the as an American MLS man, sometimes you want to be able to distinguish an American from a Dominican. Now, but they've got a Spanish mix in them, which is different from the European mix in the U.S. because most people in the U.S. are mixed with like Northern European.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here it's Spanish blood down here, so they do have a distinct look.
Okay,
but there are some of the guys I know, and some of the Americans that come down, you can't even distinguish them from a Dominican.
Wow.
So the only thing is your facial features will stand out. Like you say, I noticed even when I got down here, just like you said, you'll notice an American in France when you were there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're noticeable. But one of the a couple girls, when me and my partner were hanging out, they said, "Well, he looks like you." They wouldn't be able to tell whether he was Dominican or not, but they said, "You're American. We know you're not from here." Simply because of the way I look, right? And so, but I'm fairer than most people, and so my features look more European, and so that's why they say, "Well, we know you're not Dominican," but he and my friend that's from Detroit, the one that encouraged me to come down here, and he's only 40. He's probably 45.
Oh, he's my age then, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's been coming down here a lot longer than me, and he's the one that said, "Man, you ought to think about coming down here before you go to Belize." And I'm happy I did, because Belize is a much smaller country.
Okay.
But it's still the thing about Belize is it's still considered a Caribbean country.
Okay.
But they were an English settlement.
Mm-hmm.
So and they just got they just broke off from the English crown probably in the 80s, I think. I
Okay.
think in the 80s. So, but as for, you coming down and mixing in with the crowd, listen, they're easygoing people, right? The culture that you have to get that I had to get used to is they stare,
Mm,
right? And they hold a gaze, which to me, growing up in a big city, it's like, what are you looking at?
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, you'll get that. Like for me, I've gotten two things. Are you part Spanish? Because I work with some people who thought I was Spanish or Puerto Rican, and then
Mhm.
also Indian. One, this guy in my new job, he stared at me and said, he said, "Are you Indian?" I'm like, "No, but I've got that before from a guy at the gas station." A
Right,
couple,
right,
every time he looks at me, he kind of, not every time, but I've seen him. He kind of stares at me a little long because it's like that trying to look for that
right.
commonality between you and that person. Kind of like you
Yeah, yeah.
that, and then
Are they, you mean a
figure,
foreigner? A foreigner?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
foreigner
They
work,
want you to be their friend,
yeah, yeah,
especially if you're an American and you look like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's kind of weird. And I get to stare down to say, hold on, now it's not they're staring you down to start anything. They're trying to
Right, right.
really.
Exactly.
You have to keep that in mind.
Oh man, I had to get used to that because
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck you looking at?
yeah.
And you know what's funny though, because even for me, because even when I used to live in California, um, I actually got, I had a Portuguese, I think she was Portuguese and Spanish mixed girl coming up to me, and me and my mom we were at the post office,
Mhm.
and she was saying how, oh my God, I just happened to see you and you remind me of my brother. And unfortunately, my brother is no longer here. He passed away. And all I could just, well, sorry to hear that. And so we had like what was it, maybe a 3 to 5 minute conversation till it was time for us to get up to the counter. Then we left, and my mom was saying, "Yeah, I just happened to catch that. I just happened to catch her, somewhere in the corner, just crying." And
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, well, I'll take it that she must have loved him, dearly,
Right.
because." I mean, and even some parts of well, depending on where you live, especially in the U.S., even some states or cities, you'll get those. But even but again, but even in foreign countries too, but they won't necessarily be too they're not malice with it.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Right. Right.
mhm.
Yeah. So you ask what it would be like. Well, I can tell you down here, there are probably the last thing I heard, there was like 300,000, a quarter million to three or 400,000 Americans living down here.
Ah, okay, okay.
So and you'll also get, like I said, Canada has a bunch of people down here.
Hmm.
I met a guy from Canada, and he was doing sort of like a senior living thing on the North Coast because Canada, I guess he was explaining to me that he used to work with Scotia Bank, and it was funny because when I got introduced to him, they called him Detroit. That was his nickname.
Mm.
And so it was a white guy, big guy, and so the guy that introduced me knew that I was from Detroit, and he also knew the other guy was from Canada, but the other guy grew up in Windsor. And so if you know anything about Detroit, Windsor is like right across the river. So Windsor is like a suburb
Mm.
of Detroit, right? So the Detroit River is about a half mile wide, uh, half mile to three quarters, and so especially in my age, group at 9/11. Let me put it like this: 9/11 is when everything changed about crossing the border.
Mhm.
So Americans, even in high school, friends would say, "I'm going to go to the University of Windsor." And then some actually just moved across the border and they would work in Detroit or work in Michigan because, the dollar was a lot stronger. And then the Canadians would work in the States as well. So this guy, he was a hockey player and he went to a school at one of the Detroit universities, Wayne State, and he was playing hockey. And somebody said to him, "You know what? You're such a good hockey player. You ought to go to the University of Michigan and play." And so he was older than me. So this is in the 60s when he was playing, and he just went up to Michigan and got on the team, and they accepted him, and he played hockey. And then he worked for Scotia Bank.
Okay.
And then after college, he came down to the islands. He didn't come down to the DR. He went to a different island, and he was running Scotia Bank on that island. He would island hop. Every 3 years, he'd have to take a different job. And so he said for 3 assignments, so 9 years, he would go from one island to another island to another island to understand the Caribbean. And so he understood how the money flowed back and forth. And he then started to develop a senior living type thing, because the transfer of money, I guess, is very easy. And I guess they could transfer it right to a living arrangement that would go to the housing costs, something like that. And so you got a bunch of Canadians that are on the North Coast. And listen, the movie game down here is big. What's that guy's that did in all those car movies? What's Vin Diesel? Is that his name?
Vin Diesel.
He's opening up a movie studio on the North Coast up there around the Canadians, because they got a bunch of boats coming in, tourist boats.
What is that? That's I'm seeing
Puerto Plata.
Yeah, Puerto Plata, Sosua.
Sosua.
Okay, so Sosua, I've been up to Sosua one time, and I only went there because when my daughter came, we were driving around the thing. I don't go to Sosua.
Okay.
Now,
Rio.
I
see Rio San Juan and Monte Cristi.
Right. Yeah. Sosua is so you've heard of the passport boroughs, right?
Yeah.
So listen, that if you tell anybody you're going to Sosua, you're going to Sosua for one reason. Right. So and I don't go to Sosua, right? And you can meet a woman down here anywhere you
go.
Yeah. Right. Anywhere you go. Now I understand there are different phenotypes around and in different cities as well. But yeah, those cities that you are naming, they're all now. Here's the thing. You can go up to Puerto Plata, Rio, whatever you are, San Juan. The best beach me and my daughter ever found was in the DR. We were like, whoa, and it's off the beaten path, right? And it's in this place called Samaná, or not too far from Samaná. And Samaná is where the AME church brought.
Yeah, it's on the what is that? The East Coast, far East Coast.
Yeah,
Samaná,
northern east side of the island.
Yeah, Highway 5. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't ask me the highways, but let me tell you.
No, I'm looking at it on the map. That's why I see it on the map.
The most beautiful beach I've ever seen was there. And I've been to some beaches. That was the most beautiful beach, but we had to drive off it was kind of difficult to get there. And
why?
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you something. It's beautiful, and now you've got more and more people coming down, and a lot of tourists. I've met a guy that's probably 40. He met his wife. She's Dominican, and she was working in the U.S. in Alabama, right? This guy's from Alabama. I ran into him. He's big on YouTube. And so him and some others, they get together and just talk about people moving. He moved and down here probably, he said 2 or 3 years ago, right? But his wife is from here. And so you got guys that are moving down here that are, like I said, my friend, he finally got married to a girl down there. He's 45. He still goes back and forth to the US. I have another friend that he's married to a Dominican girl. He's probably been coming down here for about 15, 17 years. He bought he bought a hotel. He rented one. I'm the one that took him around to show him the real estate. He bought a 25 room hotel. He rented it. He leases it, fixed it up, man. He put an elevator in that thing. And then I introduced him to another friend of mine. She was managing a boutique hotel. That one was up for sale. He actually bought that one. And so, man, you got some people moving and shaking down here.
That's
too.
nice. Yeah, that's positive.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's opportunity. I mean, if you travel, look, there's opportunity. You just have to open your eyes to some of that stuff.
Yeah. That sounds great. Sounds great. Yeah.
I would just say keep working. Make sure by the time you hit 50, well, how old do you have to be to collect Social Security? 50?
Well, they got the early. Well, I don't even. It'll probably change by the time I get close to it in 28.
Right.
But yeah, right now it's like what 62, 65, and like 67, maybe.
Right. That's what those are the ages, right? 62 and 60.
5 and I think 67. And I think they may have tried to 70 now.
Yeah. So as long as you can get that income coming in, that will also be added to whatever retirement you get, then that would be cool. My friends are asking me to look for places for them down here. So no, I think an MLS guy, Americans fit in down here anyway, but an MLS guy would fit in perfectly down here.
Yeah, with the right attitude, right mindset. Yeah, for sure.
I would encourage. Listen, I'm telling you something. Like I said, the girls are off the hook. My girlfriend right now is she's 15 years younger than me. She's 50 something, but she's still 15 years younger than me. And I got it. Listen, there's another one at the gym that is just, she is bad. And I know she's in her 40s. I mean, I'm not talking to you, AMR. You're too young. But for me,
it's not like I don't understand the plight, but go ahead.
But listen, the first girl I went out with down here, she was 44, right? So I'm still robbing the cradle, but damn, and their bodies are tight, right?
Yeah, it's the food, the exercise, everything you spoke about before. When you live like that, you don't live in a society that's constantly pushing for more and more and more.
Exactly.
Then you can rest and be in your natural state. Heck, I'm not super. I'm not older, but old. But I remember as a kid in the 80s, even early 90s, we lived better in America that way.
Listen, my mother had
definitely in the 70s, from what I heard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a kid of the 70s, right?
Got you.
And my mother had her first child at 19, and there were 5 of us. My mother was never fat.
Yep. That's how it usually was, and they would just be right back in shape, and nobody would ever could tell they had children, But
all that bull crap food came about in my lifetime, where they started adding chemicals and food colors and all that kind of stuff. And
when they put the high fructose corn
Yeah,
syrup in it instead of the natural sugar cane.
yeah,
I remember that because I grew up with family that had in the country area grew sugar canes.
yeah.
And I remember that being the standard. And then when that switched over, it was like, yeah, you could tell the difference in the food, how it tasted, the bitterness, not digesting it properly, all those things.
Exactly. All that stuff, man. It doesn't even and like I was saying, you know, the taste of like you said, if you don't eat the food down here in a day, it goes bad because it doesn't have all those additives in it, right? And the taste burst. A banana down here. Oh man, I don't know what you guys are eating in the US anymore because this doesn't even taste like a banana, you know?
I,
Uh
I hate to mention Soylent Green, but
yeah, yeah,
that's what
yeah.
a lot of people are saying is not even funny anymore. That used to be a running joke. That's not a joke anymore.
When you live in a place like this and you go to a farmer's market where the food is just sitting out in abundance. The tomatoes are big, red, and ripe. They got fruit down here. I don't even know what it's called, right? But everything is just in abundance. I go there. I'll buy my meal because I don't cook a lot. I can go to the farmer's market, buy rice, beans, whatever meat that I'm gonna get. So I can get chicken, pork, beef, and I can have brown rice, white rice with beans, and then they'll cook I forget what they call the sweet bananas that they cook down here with a salad, right? So rice, my choice of meat, beans with a salad, and a little piece of dessert. It cost me 200 pesos. That's the equivalent of about $3.80, right? That same meal in the US would probably cost me 17, $18. And so imagine I can, and the portion is huge. That's my meal for a day. I don't need to eat anything else because it's so big, right? But it's all fresh, it's all healthy, and there are no additives. And
Wow.
that's what I'm eating.
Yeah. You're getting it for cheaper and healthier. And
Oh,
your
hell
body
yeah.
knows the difference. Like you
I-
literally have energy all day. Like I
After I leave the gym, I walk to the farmer's market and grab because I usually leave the gym at about 1 o'clock, and that's my food for the day.
Mm,
And I'm telling you, it's healthy. It's
yeah,
healthy.
yeah.
Because the people I got I have an older brother and a younger brother. I got two younger brothers, but the youngest and the oldest, man, I mean, they're supersized, and they're so big themselves because of what they eat, how they eat, and their lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
They don't get out there and exercise. My other brother, younger brother, he's pretty health conscious. He ran track in high school, and so he's pretty much stayed slim his entire life, as I have. And but the man, the additives that are in the food in America are just
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's to the point where even if you do like a decent workout or whatever, you can just eat a little bit of whatever, and then within like a few days to a week, if you don't watch yourself,
Yeah,
you'll blow up.
yeah,
Just instantaneous, and you'll blow up, and you're doing all the other stuff where years ago, decades ago, you had more natural food. If you did your workout, if you were older, you stayed at place for a while. It
yeah,
took a lot to get you to being, at a risk of, getting
yeah.
a lot bigger, real quick. It was,
Mhm.
they talk about metabolism. I don't know if it's more so the foods we're eating with the metabolism or just your body itself.
Well, it's your body, but it's the food you're eating too.
Yeah.
Because you're like you said, you went down a list of what's in the food. Your body can't break that stuff down.
No, no.
So it doesn't, your metabolism is doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And plus, you don't even get the vitamin benefits from the food because
Nope.
of what's in there.
Yep.
So yeah, and so Americans, I have to laugh sometimes because Americans think we live in the best country in the world. There are a lot of benefits, don't get me wrong, but there are other countries like France, Spain, European countries that don't have the additives that we have.
They outlaw them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they outlaw them just straight up. They outlaw them. Yeah. Uh,
and they don't have the stress that we have.
nope.
Man, we're being sold a bill of goods.
There we are. I mean, it's America's the biggest business in the world. I mean, everybody knows it now. It's just a place to come and make money, and for
Hmm.
a lot of other people who are not native or not this current America, they can actually go to their real homes once they get to a certain place
And
where they.
that's what they try to do too. They only go to the America. A lot of when you get to the smart, like the Dominicans, man,
Mhm.
they're only going over there to make money.
Yeah,
They want to come back and build a house, just like I heard the Indians,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I have to be, you guys have heard about this, about this FBA stuff and all that kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I'm for it. I'll just put it out. I'm
I'm
for it.
for it only. I'm for it because of the history,
Right.
and you just don't. My thing is this: just in humanity as a whole. One of my things that I hear a lot is, history repeats itself. History repeats itself. No, humans don't change
Right.
fundamentally.
No, no, they don't.
That's what it is. I hear history repeats itself. No, humans' nature just will not change as long
Yeah.
as whatever species we are. So that's my answer to that. But
Yeah.
so I'm with the FBA without the shenanigans
Hmm.
because of respecting what it took to survive that in this country, and this is your country, and people are wanting to come here
Right.
for those reasons. So you
Right.
don't turn your back on that. Nobody else in their native countries would turn their back on themselves and who they are, and they wouldn't allow you to step over
Right.
it. So
And
you same way.
yeah.
I respect them for standing on business on that, but some of the other shenanigans,
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. I'm like, okay,
When they start talking about they are natives, I'm like, okay, wait. I can understand. See, if they had said we're native in the sense that we were here before the United States became America, then okay, yeah, we were, right? We've been here before the country became a country.
yeah,
So we're native in that sense, right? But when they start talking about, you know, we're you got some people saying that we were there before. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just claim they're Native American, Indian Native Americans, and I just haven't seen. Let me put it like this: I have not seen any any proof that Black people were in America before the transatlantic slave.
the only thing that even comes close is the Olmecs down in Mexico. That's the
Right,
only kind of say, yeah, okay, I can see that with what they left behind, and
right.
the similarities and the story of it or whatever. And then
And,
I can see that, but outside of that, I don't really see anything else historically.
hey, look, they messed themselves up. You know, FBA just by claiming that nonsense, then they lose some validity when people start talking like that,
Yeah,
right? It's just like, okay, come on, guys, right? Let's stick with the original thing with foundational Black Americans. Okay, I get that, right? Because I'm 100% on board with that,
yeah.
right? But when you start talking that other stuff, there's just no proof of it, right? Now here's something where if they can show this through some type of study. I went to Peru, so that's the only South American country I've been to because my
Oh,
daughter wanted to go to what's that place called? You know, that place high up in the mountains. And so when we were up there, we were hiking, and the Indians, the Peruvian Indians over there, explained that the earth, it broke. And you can see where the America kind of fits into the Eastern United States and South America kind of, if it were a puzzle
It would,
and
yeah,
the ocean weren't there, it would fit right in there.
yeah, yeah.
So when it broke off, that's
Yeah.
where the Peruvians were explaining, and I forget the technical name for that. Now I can believe that. So yeah, but so there could have been black people off that break, right? But I just haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything like that. So I'm just kind of they lose validity when they start saying that, and that's allows people to attack their the FBA story or the ADO story when you got people talking about well, blacks are the real natives to America versus the the Native American Indian population.
Yeah, it's kind of like giving a lot of facts and then almost like what would they call it? Controlled opposition by
Yeah.
by throwing in some falsehoods to kind
Right.
of for whatever purpose that serves for whomever, and not being in total truth to push anything forward. You know,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Basically, what they're doing is sort of scamming the people.
yeah.
Mhm.
But scamming. I don't know. I'm not gonna say, but scamming because they want to scam, or scamming because they want to have something to draw the people in, but at the same time they're controlled at what they can information they can give and how far they can go. So they'll just rather scam and lead it to a certain point, but not really go into what they really want, which is the reparations and so
Mhm.
on. Like I said, control opposition in some kind of way. By
Right.
controlled by whom, I don't know.
Right.
Never,
Right.
never.
Here's a if somebody says something to me and then I kept it till this day that either somebody wrote a check
Okay.
or someone got paid.
How so?
Hold on just for a sec. Because to me, because
You
I
mean
would never really
the
because
founders of FBA got paid?
what's that?
Who got paid?
Probably probably the one that's spewing out propaganda because you see it on the regular.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Because you see it because you see it, read it, and hear about it even in the current news.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with the for an example of what they're talking about regarding this. I talked a little bit about it on Brown and Beige's stream last night about the Renee Good unfortunate death
Oh, that
where
girl up there, immigrant.
y-
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and the way she got shot and basically just trying to get away from the situation, and people are so quick to jump and say, "Oh, she posed a threat,"
Mm-hmm.
and I asked that, well, how so? I'm like, so trying to get away from something that's posing a threat, and then that's where it reminds me, it's like, okay, your agenda is because you bend the knee, whether you got compensated or not.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't goes against the narrative that who you bent the knee to,
Right.
that's just where it's going to come, and that's just where it's going to go. And even for the ones even that's speaking on behalf of FBA and not standing on business,
Mm-hmm.
just rather just put this stuff out in order to falsehood or water down certain information, just like information even about us
Mm-hmm.
is watered down or limited. And yet here we are, pretty much putting this information out for who wants to grab it and who versus who don't.
I can say one thing about this whole conversation around FBA and what Trump has triggered in this country, right? And and a lot of the FBA, a lot of Black Americans are pretty much, rah-rahing Trump up by saying that Blacks were foundational to this country and are just now being recognized for how important they were. And so that comes out of one side of his face. Out of the other side of his face comes, we're gonna get rid of all Black history. We're gonna because it makes white people feel. Am I supposed? I mean, I hear everybody say white T and BLK or whatever. I mean, I just say the words. Am I not supposed to say certain words on YouTube or something?
It's TikTok lingo. It's so you won't get, a lot of people have live streams of videos, so they won't get targeted or flagged, so they won't get like taken down or whatever. So
man, I just call it what it is.
Yeah, I understand, but it's the TikTok lingo, and it's needed, especially on live streams on there. Like people have to keep it real PC to get but still get their point across. So
okay.
That's
okay. When I say something, AMR, since this is your stream, tell me, just say, hey, you're not supposed to say that. And I'll rephrase it so you guys can educate me. But, I mean, I look at it's white people, Black people, and then any other country you come from, that's what I'm going to call you. Right. And but I agree that, in this country, even worse than that, we bend the knee to whatever group we belong to, and it's just so bad. It's not only political parties, it's not only the race, it breaks down to the neighborhood you grew up in, the part of the country you grew up in. If you grew up in the South and a Northerner comes down, you're a Yankee, right? If you are like us, we get called all kind of names.
Oh,
We're not supposed to call anybody else names. Well, I'm a what do they call it? Equal. I give it out equally. You call me a name, I'm going to call you a name, right? And so I just think that we've gotten to a point where we can't have, because it used to be. And when I was in politics and growing up, just because you were a Democrat or a Republican didn't mean you didn't vote with them, right? And I can remember when this congressman from Georgia got in, he created this contract with America, which meant if you were going to vote, if you were going to be an elected U.S. congressman, you had to sign this contract to say that you supported all these things. And if you didn't support it, then you were going to be run out of the party, right? That to me was the beginning of this hard line, because before that, you would have people that were you had like on a line of conservative to liberal, Democrats to Republicans, and they'd be crossing over. Well, that's good for my people up here in Illinois, and it's good for the people that are in this section of Florida and over here in Arizona. So you know what? That's good. We're gonna vote for that, regardless of whether it was presented by a Republican or a Democrat over here. People would cross lines. Now we can't get anything done in this country because if you don't belong to the right gang, well, you get punished. And the Trump is a master at that. That mafioso, I mean, he's just a master at pulling levers like that and making people stay in line.
Yeah, and then the thing about that too is that there are gangs within the gang that call themselves gangs, and they're ganging up on each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So again, talk about the internal battles.
But I really I was talking to my brother yesterday, and I had to ask him how our family got up to Detroit, because both my mother and my father's families are from South Carolina, and both were run out of South Carolina and Georgia on threat of hanging and killing. And so what happened with my grandfather, who was an AME minister, my two of my oldest uncles were born in South Carolina, and I knew my grandfather shot a man's dog, and they were gonna try and hang him. And but my brother told me a fuller piece of the story where my two uncles were sitting on the porch. This white man was walking down the road with his dog, and he started calling them, the N word, and was going to sick the dog on them. And the guy actually came into their house, chased them through the house into the backyard to where my grandfather was. Now, I never met my grandfather because he died when my father was 10. And my grandfather was an AME minister, but he was 6'4", right? A brown-skinned 6'4", tall, strong guy, and he shot the man's dog and beat him up. And my grandmother, her father was a white guy. He was actually mayor of that town down in South Carolina, and he said, "I can't protect you from this one. You guys got to leave now." And he gave them some money and said, "Call me when you get to where you're going. I'm going to have some other family look after the boys, but you got to go now because they're going to kill you." And that's why for me, this FBA stuff, man, if you have these immigrants in here, I do not. Okay, I can deal with immigrants, but when they come over here and start talking nonsense.
Yeah. I didn't want to cut you off because your story was that's very impactful to me. It's like, it's like these stories which you just told, like in real time, what really happened, and getting those stories, man. It's just so lost right now, and people
Mhm.
just heard real, true life stories like that. What happened to their people? Then they would give them the perspective to be proud of self, to stand on it, by every means that you can, because it's just that vital, and everybody else does. And I'm in a total agreement with the idea
Mhm.
taking over a country and trying to turn it into their own, and being bold about it.
Yeah.
That's what's been going on, and
And
definitely,
you haven't been in the fight or the struggle
yeah.
so that we allowed you to come over here and do that? Come on.
And not only not been in it, chose to be YT adjacent
Exactly.
methods and means of operating. And then where you send some instances where they came from, it's the same structure.
Yep. Yep.
Got all that's factoring in. I'm what is it? I'm ethnically Black American.
Yep.
That's that yes. So I can understand why some go hard on that, and so forth. But
Oh, I will go hard. I will go hard on any foreigner. And listen, I don't have any sympathy for white tea people because I've been in spaces. Check this out. Check this story out. Um, I was at a book signing. This guy did. What's that guy's name? Who wrote The Bell Curve? It came out before you guys probably heard of it. Anyway, it was this white guy who wrote this book called The Bell Curve, and he was the first in his family to go to college.
and Bell Hooks, I think.
Bell Curve.
Curve.
It was called
Oh,
The Bell Curve.
the person who wrote it. Yeah, but go ahead, continue.
So what he wanted to justify is the fact that he was the first in his family to go to college as a white guy, being from like Iowa, Nebraska, and his family didn't have the money to go to college, right? So I was actually at a book discussion where he was discussing his book. I was living in DC at the time. And I had to ask him, I said, so let me ask you something. You are saying that Black people genetically don't have the intellectual capacity. But you're saying that if a white person had gone to college, that changes their genetics. So generation after generation after generation, they just become smarter, smarter, and smarter. And he was like, well, basically, now my phenotype is, you have to look hard at me to figure out I'm black, right? So they'll people will say, okay, he looks Italian, he looks Spanish, that kind of thing. So I do have this color on me, but I'm not looked at, and the first thing you think about is I'm talking to a black guy. So I'm asking him this question, and he says, yes, that's what I'm saying. And so you're saying genetically that black people are intellectually inferior. Yes. I said, so how do you explain that there are black people in this country that have gone to Ivy League schools since the 1800s? Then wouldn't their offspring that have continually gone to college through the generation be genetically, intellectually superior to you? He was, he didn't have a comeback for that, right? He couldn't explain it away, right? And the other thing that I said to him, I said, and understand this, most black people that went to college in the 1800s, going into the early 1900s, were poor just like you. So don't give me an excuse that you and your family couldn't afford college, because my family went to college, and I can show you the schoolhouse that my grandmother went to in the backwoods of South Carolina. When you compare that to what was going on in Charleston or up north in the big city, and the facility they had, it was a one-room wooden place that if it rained, it was like that Robin, that little Red Riding Hood. If the wolf came along, and he could blow the house down, right? So don't tell me that just because you were poor, you weren't able to go to college, and that's the reason that you're intellectually superior because you were able to get into Harvard. Guess what? You were given a slot. I know this as a fact. You were given a slot because you're a country boy from a farm whose parents had never gone to college, and you were given the same affirmative action slot that a black person would be given. You are no smarter than anybody else genetically. It's just false, period. And so when people from the DR or Nigeria or Puerto Rico, and they want to be and their melanated people want to come over to the US and talk about they're doing better, the only reason you got over here is because people laid the foundation for you to bring yourself over here.
I got one word that none of them had to deal with and still overcome: resilience. Generations of resilience, like true resilience, like that makes you almost like unstoppable, like mentally, physically, emotionally unstoppable when you come through that. And everybody doesn't have that in their gene pool or their bloodline or what have you. Like, they have different ways of it, but not quite the same, whereas all those factors working against you and you still find a way to rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference.
And so for me, for me phenotypically, I don't think I've ever put down black on a job application, because I know that, one, I don't look it, right? But here's the double-edged sword. When I get a job, when I've had jobs, I am black, and I don't make any bones about that, right? And so when I get there, then, because now that I'm there, everybody's going to look and say, oh, okay, well, what are you, right? And so when people ask me, what are you? No, I'm black, right? And I got a story with that too. But then what happens is, now I got to face the same discrimination, but then I got to get the discrimination again from coming from the brothers too.
Yes.
Right. So the very first time in college, I'll never forget this. At a wedding, and a guy that my mother grew up with, he was at a software company in Detroit that was EDS. It was a supplier to the big three. We got this minority program. Do you have any sons to get into the minority program for the summer? She says, yeah, my son is here at the wedding. Brought me over to her friend. He said, we can't hire him in the program.
Wow.
And I mean, I thank him for being upfront, but it's still bullshit, right?
Oh,
If we give him a job and say he's black, then it's not going to go. He can't get a job as a black person.
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just I remember someone saying about the thing about it is I forget who had that on a video or whatever in the space, but they were speaking about most of the time a lot of these larger companies will hire the unambiguous BLK person as representation, even the foreign ones over MLS people a lot of times.
Yeah.
Just say we have those people so that representation phenotypically is there.
They're amenable.
So
they're pliable.
Yes.
They're weak. They're punks. They get in there and they want, like you said, they want to be white adjacent. I've had to handle them all the time, right? But here's the other thing. Like, I'm a strong manager, and I can give you an example of where I walked into work one time, and they were about to put 3 black girls on a level, right? One was from the neighborhood I grew up on, and the white pack had alleged they had done something. So I said, okay, well, let me check this. As soon as I walked in, they were like, you gotta, this happened, and this is the way it went down, blah, blah, blah. They're about to put us on a level. We're about to get, so if you get like a level 4, you can be fired, right? And so I said, okay, hold on, let me check this out. So I went and I interviewed everybody that was involved in it, right? I found out that it was the white girls that were the problem. Started it, caused it, and lied, right? So I'm the only black supervisor, right? And I go in there and I said, look, you guys are not going to write them up. I talked to everybody involved. It was Kathy, Ann, and somebody else that actually started the problem and then lied about it. You're not putting these girls on a level. You're not writing anything in their jacket, nothing, right? And they were like, you can't do that. I said, did you talk to them? Did you have a conversation with them to find out what really happened? No, we didn't. I said, well, you go out there and talk to them. If you find out that I have lied, that anything that I am telling you is a lie, then you put these girls on a level, right? But if you cannot find that, and I'm going to be there when you ask them, then you put them on a level. Otherwise, we're going to reverse this, and they are the ones that are going to get the level 1 for doing it, and then for lying. And so I'm cut from a certain cloth, right? And I'm not having the nonsense, right? And they were like, oh, you can't do that. Okay, we'll retract this, but you can't put them on a level. I said, why not? You're going to put these girls on a level over here, and you hadn't even talked to them. You were just going to go by their story. So I say that to say this: when I've been in the professional arena, I have really stood in the breach for our people. And I will tell you this too: a lot of the black person who are phenotypically, there's no discussion as to whether they're black. They're afraid to stand up. They're afraid to stand up to a higher authority, a director or a manager that's in their line of operations. And it just pissed me off right? That's what they did. And then when it comes time to get a raise, these same people, and that's why, you know, we have discussion with AMR and this brown and beige and our faction of people. They're the same ones that will sit there and say he's not black enough. And I'm like, well, your punk ass couldn't even stand up to the white person. You were too afraid.
No.
And then you wanted to play the black card when it comes to me, and you haven't done jack shit.
Yeah. I mean, that right there, it kind of feeds back into you know, what I was saying earlier about the whole BLK versus YT going back and forth and being pawns on each side. And that's really all it boils down to. Like, yeah, we understand how the worldwide structural racism, but when you get into smaller sectors of just like only being around BLK people, you'll have these dynamics come up. And why even go that route if you're getting mistreated and dominated and all that, and you have a history of that? Why would you even do that? You get a little bit of feeling like you got power and authority or some kind of autonomy, and it goes to your head.
Right.
And on the opposite side of the spectrum, you're not really fighting for yourself holistically the way you intergenerationally, but you're at this spot here, and then you'll watch somebody else be, they call them crash outs or or all those things, and all that feeds back, and then you step back after a while, and you should. I know I have others be like, you know what, they got it. I just distance myself. They got it. I'm going to do the best I can for myself, my family, and just go from there. I'm
absolutely
done with it. Yeah, I'm done with that. I'm done with that dynamic. Now, on an individual basis, I want to be treated. If they treat me fair with respect, I'm giving that back. Even if it's an unambiguous BLK, don't matter. But structural level, when you see those things happen, it's like, oh yeah, you sacrificed, good job, bro. That's good. And then amongst yourselves, here's these BS dynamics into play. You see? And so it's just horrible. It's a game to both sides, I believe.
But that's why it's so important that MLS people need a category, so that we don't have to. We're not straddling a fence, right?
We're really not. We're just trying to be as decent, balanced as we. Like I said earlier, when I started this evening, I said we always, most of the time, probably seeking balance more than others.
Yeah,
I think that's genetic, I believe, to a certain degree.
I agree.
I'm not saying for negativity either. I'm just in general.
No,
I've been around some BLK people say, well, why are you talking to them like that? And why are you trying? I ain't gonna say try to be nice, but why are you talking to them people? And blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm not gonna go that route. Right. It's not beneficial to me. When I operate a certain way, it works for me. You just
but here's the same thing. Those same people that question you will be behind your back doing the same thing.
Yes.
So it's like, so again, and again, it's like, so how can others? So it's like, so why press us up, but yet you going around doing the same thing or being guilty of doing the same thing that, you know, you pressing us up for, as if we're supposed to operate on the same sheet of paper. And it's like, no, like, again, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but at the same time, hey, what works for you may not work for me, or vice versa. And because again, not only are we cut from a different cloth or built differently, but not everybody is tall, not everybody is short, not everybody is overweight, obese. Hell, not everybody is evil, and not everybody is good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just what you have to deal with. I mean, in the professional, in the workplace, you come across that. So AMR, I mean, you just have to figure out how to negotiate through that.
Yeah, I get it. Even in the workplace, that there's definitely a whole bunch of cutthroats that's just waiting for an opportunity to slide on in and possibly take your spot. Even if they got to go underhanded to do so, they will.
You know, part of it though is just human
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing, Thunder, that I always speak about is human nature. It's like a lot of this stuff is just human nature, but it's how the world is operating right now, what we're
Exactly.
operating under, and then people using whatever leverage they have naturally in certain situations to get what they want to get out of it. And they don't care about, people don't care about hypocrisy or how things are done. They're just like, well, hey, if you could take the heat from me, you go ahead, and then I'll just stand back and reap the benefits if possible. And then I'll go back and act like I was the main character in the situation. It's just it's human nature, but then it's at a highly hypocritical level when you're trying to bring in brotherhood and we're together and no.
But Carl, that's what you said.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you do have to look out for number one.
Yes.
I mean, and to tell you the truth, you need to go in. I advise my nephews, my nieces, my daughter, you look out for number one.
Yes.
Screw all this other nonsense. You're not riding with this,
Yeah.
My daughter was.
The thing about it, that is, over time, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna come across people you may be able to help along the way because you took care of yourself first. You see? So, and then that's kind of like working as a individual collectivist. You built yourself up that you can feed other people and help so they can feed themselves. Now you're a stronger collective if you're in that position, instead of giving to the collective and you're pouring from an empty cup and you're believing in something that doesn't exist. Because I know I grew up in the Black community and I really believed in a community until I really had to like let that go. Because I see it in the work field, even where I'm at now. It's like most BOK people don't really talk to each other, deal with each other. But when they do, they not only deal with each other, they get overly familiar too soon. Like, I'm not getting hard hand dabs and I don't know you.
Oh yeah.
And that's one thing I had to pull away from because of my mother and being raised in the South and being raised in the down here in Southeast Texas, where it's like deep South and very communal, coming from Jim Crow, because she was born in like 43, and it's just a different time. So I literally had to make myself conscious to pull away from being over familiar with people, because I was given that structure of dealing with quote unquote your people. That was a missing element that I consciously eventually pulled away from. Not where I'm cold, but I just keep things cordial. I keep things at a basic respect.
Hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Y'all can go ahead and keep it going.
Yeah. But like I was saying, then I keep things at a basic cordial level, and that has helped me so much. It's helped me to like be able to talk to people and relate, but then keep a kind of like a distance there to not be overly familiar, because that breeds contempt.
Yeah, that's important though, because I mean that's professional.
Yeah, I'm talking about even just in my normal everyday life. Where, here you can't afford to just deal with people, because people get too over familiar. They see you're a producer, they see you have things going, and then here comes the checking out what you're doing and what you got, and can I do this, and what it just that's just how it is in America for sure, and especially Black American, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up like you. I mean, very communal.
Yeah.
I said my grandfather was an AME minister.
Yes.
My
grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister. He in 2017, he was 99. So he was born like 1917. So I grew up with him, actually, because he lived so long. So some of those stories you're telling me, I'm pretty sure they went through it. And he lost his two parents at 6.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough. And so he pretty much raised by other family members or raised himself.
Yes, his aunt raised him. So those stories, I remember hearing them growing up, and these things, and it's like, I don't know if the present day young people know this. If they did, they would have a sense of self more, not hatred, just a more sense of self and the pride. And then that goes back to.
But here's the thing, the young people will blame the older. Each generation blames the generation behind them. Yeah. Right. And that it's just not true. Like this FBA thing, right? I'm so happy it happened because I've been on this type of a thought process forever. I have not been Pan-African. I have not been I've been community-based, thinking that I'm an American, right? My family has been in America. Black people have been in America more than 90% of everybody that's been in America. So you're not going to tell me I can't claim American. I'm American, and I'm not settling for anything else. But the one thing that you said that stuck with me is that you didn't say burnout, but you kind of get burned out by trying to be communal and help everybody else out, right? Yes. And it came to a certain point where even in law school, and I was saying, and I went to a HBCU, right?
Oh, okay.
And for law school, and I will tell you, it was the worst discrimination I have ever faced in my life.
Wow, that's saying something. That's saying something in, from, being quote unquote culturally, ethnically a Black American, even though phenotypically otherwise. But
they knew who I was. My brother graduated before me.
Yeah, and you would think that kind of heat, that kind of pressure would stick with people, and it does not. It just does not. It's like a generation goes by.
Listen, at the time, I had 11 cousins that had graduated from that joint. They knew who I was. They knew my family background. I married a girl whose father was a professor at the university.
Wow.
I had never been called a white boy.
Wow.
And I got called a white boy in class, in front of the class. In fact, the professor says, "I bet you think we all look alike, don't you, white boy?"
That's crazy.
At the time, me and my ex-wife were engaged. Now I'm from Detroit, and I've had to tell people, don't believe that what's that New Jack City.
Yeah.
Shit don't operate like that, right? You on some movie tip, and you haven't. And New Jack City is based off of a drug ring in Detroit, and I can tell you there are plenty of people that look like me, that were in the game, that would do you in faster than anybody that looked like Wesley Snipes, right? And I've had to tell people professionally and otherwise, you need to get off that tip. Anyway, I'm sitting there. He calls me a white boy. He says, "I bet you think we all look alike," right? I have my hands on the desk. I'm getting out of my seat because I'm going to fight, right? And my fiance put her hand on my thigh. She said, "Don't. That's what they want you to do." It wasn't until after I graduated that a girl that was from Detroit, and she was a dark brown skinned girl, and I didn't know, I knew her cousins, but she didn't know I knew her cousins until after we had graduated. And she said, she told her cousins, they said, "Oh, you went to school with Invisible Man." And they were like, "Yeah, we know him." They said, "You know him?" And she said they purposely were trying to get him to act so they could kick him out. Purposefully trying to do me in because of the way I look, and they knew, okay, that might touch a chord in him. It's going to get him to react. And at a point, I wrote a letter to the dean, and I said, "I have never faced this much discrimination in my life." And I was being altruistic, coming to a Black academic institution, thinking it was going to be different from the white institution. And in fact, it's worse. I didn't even deal with this stuff on the street. When I was walking down the street, or if I was doing certain things, I didn't even have to deal with this bullshit. Nobody ever called me a white boy like that. And it happened twice. So that when the next time I was in my third year, and the same professor was about to call another guy a white boy, right? And he looked and he said, I better not say that. The last time I did that, somebody wrote a letter to the dean and the faculty, and I had to discuss it. So after the class was over, I was walking out, and this professor says to me in a smart aleck way, and he's from Philadelphia. He said to me, he said, I bet everybody thought you were a white boy. And he had a name, a Jewish sounding name. And I said to him, I said, I bet everybody thought you were a Jew. And furthermore, if you had ever met me on the street, and if you had ever said that shit to me on the street, I'd have kicked your ass. And everybody looked. I said, he's not going to kick me out now. I'm a third year. He's not kicking me out now. And plus, I'm the one that wrote the letter to the entire faculty. The reason calling him and that other professor out for calling me a white boy, right? So I mean, the level of discrimination, mine is maybe much harsher than some, but it shines a light on what people like us have to go through throughout life. And it only changes to degrees in the way the game is played, from growing up as a child in elementary school to being in junior high, high school to college, now professionally and socially, right? And so that's, to me, that's another reason I think we have to have our own category. And if any unambiguous person were to tell me, oh, we never, like this guy, Dr. Umar, he came at a guy that's a Muslim, but he's a light-skinned Muslim. And he
Suran Seti.
Yeah, and he came at him, and then the people in Detroit pulled him aside and said, "You can't say that to him. You can't do X, Y, and Z." And he played like I never knew anything like that. I never experienced that. If anybody ever comes to me and tells me they, as a black person, they didn't do that kind of stuff to somebody that was light, bright, or a light-skinned person, they're fucking lying.
Yep.
Well, I would say this, Thunder, and they were talking about there's no such thing as a reverse colorism or whatever, and it may not be as harsh as what you think it is, but that could set the path to like really change the perspective of the person. If they were like okay before that, they start looking at like the entire situation in a whole different way, to where the person that, especially over time, if it continues, they're like, well, I'm done. You know, the logical thing would be either is this who I am? If not, then I may be done with this, you know? So
Right.
I don't understand how that can change the trajectory of a whole thought process with that going on. So yeah, it may not be, the jobs or whatever, but a sense of, here's the thing they don't understand. And I've thought about this myself, a sense of being and belonging without having to think about it or not be questioned about it is a blessing, and it's an advantage.
Right.
In humanity, it's an advantage in humanity. It may be a little off in certain environments, but when you get to places that are for you or similar to you, and it's obvious, that is an advantage. That is a benefit. That's being the opposite of that is hard.
Yeah.
Hard. And they don't get that part. Like, okay, job, that's all material stuff. If you take all that away, what do you have? A lot of us don't have any communities to begin with. We're winging it. You know what I'm saying? Doing the best. That's why we're in these spaces online. We might have a few in real life, you know, maybe you came from it, but you know, once you grow up, that separates and you go about the world or whatever. Right. And it's the world doesn't shift, it doesn't change. It's like people find that even water somewhere. They go out, you figure out life, and they go back to the same places they start or something similar to it. But to go out and not have anywhere to really just, you know, land for people like you, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah. And it's real. People think it's a joke. I say, yeah, I can hang in here with you guys, but I'm always going to be on the outskirts of it. I'm never going to feel like I'm like you. Like, you know, everywhere you go, you're 100% not going to be questioned about things, at least who you are. That is a psychological benefit as a human being.
Right.
Period.
I dare somebody to argue with me about that. They know it too. They know it.
They know it, right?
Yeah.
But they want to claim that they don't.
Yes.
And they want to claim that their discrimination is harder than what you've had to deal with. But you got to deal with it from them and the YT.
Yeah, it's only in the constructs that you're under. If you find a way to find a different construct or go to a different, you'd be fine. You'd actually experience the world and the life you say you want. But you gotta fight for it constantly, and that's what you gotta do. But do you want to do that?
Right.
You're not comfortable. You're comfortable.
Like you said, at some point you just become frustrated with it. But listen, I wrote a plan, a community plan for Black business. It was adopted.
Did it get cut off? Oh, I can't hear.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Did Thunder get cut off?
Maybe he can't hear. Can you hear me?
AMR,
don't you, AMR?
Oh yeah, I can hear.
I hear both of
Thunder
you.
still there? I can't hear him.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Carl, can you hear me?
That's weird.
I don't know why Carl can't hear me. If AMR, you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Oh, so I don't know why he can't hear me.
Weird.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Anyway, I had written a plan for the Black community, and it was adopted in Detroit. And so, but at a certain point, I just became frustrated with always having to deal with you're not Black enough. But then the Black community and the Black power brokers, they weren't doing what I had done. They had
AMR, I might have to drop down. I can't hear Thunder. I can hear you going back and forth, but I can't hear him if he's still active.
Hold on, let me try this. Tell him to hold on, AMR.
No, I give him a sec.
Okay. Are you there? Maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm back. Just trying to take myself off mute.
Yeah. So anyway,
okay, Carl says he still can't hear nothing.
I hear him.
Wow, technical difficulties like a mug.
Okay. Anyway, what was it? I'm glad I called in. It was, sometimes it's cathartic to have discussions like this,
Oh yeah, most definitely, and even like, and even with your story, and in a way, again, like, and again, it reminded me, again, like even what the background noise of what so-called, even with the, again, the BC has sort of been pushing a narrative of people that look like me, you, Carl, Brown and Beige, whoever, have basically been the sellouts in the aid to the oppressor. And hearing that, you're like, it develops some shocking, absorbers
Yeah.
You become a shock absorber to that. And
Right.
then it becomes, well, not in America. Definitely not in America.
You become void. You become,
Yeah.
you just don't want to deal with it anymore. It's like what Carl was saying. You just want to say, okay, I'm in it for me now. I see what this is about. I'm going to do me. And really, that's the way you should be in the first place. It's just that we were raised to be communal and help everybody. But when you're in a work setting, it's you have to be out for yourself, and everybody else comes after you. What priority you put them in, I don't know, but everybody else comes after you.
Oh yeah, that's I pretty much had to do that not only within the workplace, but also in school, also even when it comes to certain family members, and and that pretty much eliminated a lot of stress, even on my behalf, that I was dealing with.
Yeah. Once you get to a point where you recognize it and you get comfortable with just being you and not really don't allow them to impact you psychologically as much anymore, you're able to then walk your road in peace, right? Otherwise, you're going to be stressed out, and it's not like you don't know who you are, because that's the other thing that just drives me crazy, because the black people are like, oh, you don't know, you're mixed up, you don't know who you are. No, the only person that's mixed up is you for asking me the question about who I am and what I am, right? I always knew who I am. I knew who I was, right? You're the person with the problem.
Yeah.
You and that white tea person over there that you gang up with to try to get at me. We, as MLS people, we know who we are, right? And I just place strength in anybody I talk to from the community, any of my nieces or nephews that ask me about it. If they're confronting with you about that, they're not your friend. You need to disassociate yourself with somebody that wants to try to marginalize you on the way you look, because they're not for you. All they're trying to do is somehow get a step up over you, or try to put you down based upon their insecurities.
Oh yeah. And even and again, and if you're and not only that, then it also comes then this other game that they play of like Thunder, for an example, like if they were to see you walking down the street with the woman that you're with now, and they pretty much love doing this little sort of projection thing into thinking, why are they together? Like,
right. I've had that.
Why are they together? They look pretty much like relatives, and
right.
Like they need a lower. They pretty much need to think outside the box. And
hey, look, my brother went to college in Florida, and they told him, they said, you're supposed to be with a dark skinned girl. You can't go out with her. I was like, what the fuck? I said, you go out with who you like. You aren't, nobody says because you're light, you have to go out with someone dark, when all of them want to go out with somebody, the girl that you have, right? The girl that's light, tan, or brown that you have, they're telling you go out with the dark person. Well, if the dark person is your preference, fine. But that's just not a code. That's not a standard. I'm sorry. That's not a standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a code. I don't know what the hell.
And I'm like, and they kill me with that.
Right.
And it's like, and if you're a man thinking that way about another man, then you pretty much just told me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Because here's my thing, man. My thing is, if she's pretty, if she's beautiful, I'm going after it. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
that is when I was single, and trust me, I have gone out with some of the darkest and some of the lightest and everything in between, even different nationalities. But if they were fine, they were fine. And I wasn't stopping simply because of color or nationality. And so I just didn't operate by those rules.
But and then again though, and then this, again, modern, but then this modern world that it gets to the point to where it's like, you hear it so much and every day, now I want to say almost every day, but when it's thrown in your face, whether it's an actual interaction, or even when you watch videos and even people going on TV parading this stuff, and it's just like, oh, would you just shut up?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like,
even
and why do they even give these people a platform
yeah.
to even to even give to even have to have this stuff said?
Man, I went out with a girl one time. I didn't go out with her. I was trying to hit on her, and she wasn't. She was light,
Yeah.
and she said to me, she says, you don't go out with girls like me." I said, "I'm sitting on your porch trying to hit on you. What the hell are you talking about? I don't go out with girls like you. I'm over here trying to hit on you, and you're going to tell me, you're going to give me an attitude? No, I'm not hitting on you anymore. I'm out."
Yeah, you pretty much just spoiled. You pretty much just ruin your plans.
Yeah, I'm out. I said, I'm not playing this bullshit. Trust me.
Just doomed it to failure from before it even began, and that's where they messed themselves up at.
Yeah, yeah. So it's you just have to find the one. That's all I have to say. Now I will say this: one of the things that I like, and people say they always have that funny saying about Dominicans, "Me no black." Well, I understand their culture, and I understand what they're saying. They know their African heritage,
Yeah.
but blackness, saying I'm black, that's not. When you go to an African country or you go to an island, they know themselves by their nationality. They don't know themselves by black is an American concept, an American construct. And so when they come over to the United States and they tell somebody, if a brother asks them, "What are you?" and they say, "Well, I'm Dominican." Oh, you trying to deny? Just like us, right? If we want to get a category on the census, right? And they're saying, "Oh, you trying to deny your blackness?" No, I'm not trying to deny anything. What I am trying to do is get my own category, like you got your own, like you say, like if or Carl said, if they walk in a room, they never have to explain who they are, and that's a comfort that they have, right? And we want that comfort ourselves. So when we walk in a room, "What are you?" No, I'm Creole. I'm MLS.
Right.
I'm
And
MGM.
even with the whole Creole thing,
Right.
like, um,
They give Creoles a heartache over that.
oh yeah, they do. And as a matter of fact, like, I don't know if you ever heard of this dude called Phil, what's his name? Phil Scott, or Phil the Advice Show.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he did a review. So he did a review of this Creole girl answering a question.
That's bullshit. I saw it.
Yeah, yeah, and to me, it was like I was, in spirit saying this to her. You know what? People like him or people like that's coming up to you asking you this stuff, they'll never get it. They'll never understand.
Right.
And they really don't want to understand.
No, they don't want to understand. Like you say, right? They want to put their foot on us,
Yeah.
so that we succumb and we answer to them. And it's not until you grow a pair or you raise your kids to have that strength, that are able to put somebody like him in this place. I get so tired of these people on here. They want to define. Do you notice that the only people that are talking about us are people that are not us?
Yep.
We don't say shit about them, right?
No, we don't, and we do our darndest not to until our names are thrown in the mix, and we become like I've stated, that unwanted co-star.
Right.
And
Man,
so it's like,
I have never gone around saying anything about black people versus light black people. I mean, because like Carl said, you know, our families, I don't even have any white relatives. I don't even know any white relatives, right? So it's not like I'm a biracial. And I'm on the one end of the spectrum, and all my other family are darker than me. So I caught it from my family, but it was love, right? But then when you get out there, but so it's a different type of reaction. But I have never said anything about a dark-skinned black person. But then I gotta hear this bullshit, and the minute you say something back to them, then you're being colorist, you're being this, that, or the other. Man, you just I was gonna say you just don't know, but you do know.
Yeah. And it's like you know, well, you accuse us of being one way, but yet, and how we're trying to claim victimhood. I'm like, well, isn't that what you guys do on a regular basis?
I have never claimed victimhood. I have never claimed to be a victim.
Well, and I said, okay, for an example, like there can be us. We do talk about our experiences, and that's not necessarily victimhood. We're just giving you an explanation of, at which it probably might just could get to the point to where we're just gonna have to stop explaining what what we've been through and how we see the world, because you're already gonna have a misinterpretation about us anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that happens, I'm be like, well, we tried to tell you so, but you didn't want to listen. And this whole well, y'all just want to preserve color or preserve y'all color. And I'm like, no, how about preserving a culture that you know nothing about?
Yeah. But here's the funny thing about FBA, right?
Yeah.
So isn't it strange now that Americans, FBA, people who claim Black Americans, are getting the same treatment as me no black from like a Dominican? Because now the Africans are saying, oh, you want to deny you're from Africa. When people now, Black Americans are saying, no, we're American. We're delineating. So isn't that the same thing that in a way they are saying to the light-skinned people, you're trying to deny your blackness. Now the Africans are starting to tell FBA, you're trying to deny you're African. See, it's the same. It's
it's like that control mechanism. And it's like, what do you want? Like, oh yeah, and it comes down to, oh well, we want the control.
Pan-Africans are telling FBA, wait a minute, you guys are denying you're African. You're up here being what do they say, an op for COINTELPRO. Man, I hear that nonsense tossed around all the time. I'm like, you motherfuckers just don't understand. That's just a terminology to get somebody off their game, right?
Yeah.
COINTELPRO. So somebody now that doesn't agree with your point of view, so Pan-Africans calling FBA COINTELPRO.
I'm like, well, if that's the case, but then, shoot, hell, like, yeah, because again, you already did just disservice. I mean, like, again, you killed Malcolm X, you killed Huey P. Newton,
right?
You killed oh, come on, come on, what is this? What is that dude's name? Like, oh my God,
who's that? What was he in?
I think he was MLS, but I think he was also a historical, definitely a historical figure. Who, but the only ones I probably know, get well somewhat
Right.
offhand.
Right. And,
Definitely that tried to do something was Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton.
well, look,
And
anytime, and I've heard some people in these spaces claim that they couldn't even count Malcolm X as black. I mean, this shit it's mind boggling. It's mind boggling, right? So now you got the Africans saying to the FBA, you're not, you don't want to claim African. And then you got the FBA telling MLS, you're not black enough. Same argument. See,
Yep.
and they created it for themselves. So that me no black, now that FBA is claiming they're American, they can't now turn around and tell Jamaicans they're not Jamaican. They can't now turn around because what's good for the goose is good for the
It's
gander.
good for the gander. Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going on. Now, I love it because I think it's just us Black Americans maturing and this country maturing and us forcing it into the white culture saying, oh no, we're American. And in fact, we've been over here longer than all of you have, right? So I'm having a good time just watching this unfold. And then by default, Trump is playing right into our hands for the argument.
Yeah. Believe it or not, contrary to belief. Now, yeah, we don't agree with everything he says or does.
I hardly believe with anything he says.
Right.
But I agree with that.
Yeah. But here's the thing though. Because again, all this stuff is just really the more, all this stuff starts to play out and come in a full circle. And you have folks on the outside looking in thinking that, oh, this is just something new. And because they've now grasped it and just saw it right within in the moment's notice. It's like, no, this is all in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
This has always been in a circle.
Always.
But let them tell it. So it's like you don't want us to have anything. Well, guess what? You walked away not having nothing.
Mm-hmm.
These reparation talks or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm like, well, I want it for sure, again, possibly for my own interest in all that. Sure.
I tell you what, if reparations comes around, nobody better. If somebody gets in my face and tells me you're not black enough, yeah, well, they're gonna have to face me.
Yeah.
People like me, because here's the deal. My family hasn't had a white person in the mix for 150, 200 years. So don't come to me telling me I'm not getting it because phenotypically I look a certain way, right? When I know, as I was saying before, what my lineage did, and then my grandfather created the first black cemetery in Michigan. Was one of the founders of that cemetery, the first black, not in Detroit because it's outside of Detroit, but in Michigan, as head of the Black Pastors of Michigan back in the 1940s. So I don't want to hear these people talking about you're not black enough. You haven't done your family black. My family has done more for the movement than I don't know how many other people.
I'm not, and hell, and history, again, history shows it. And then, as a matter of fact, I'm like, hell, let me throw in Smokey Robinson, and Berry Gordy,
Yep.
And I got a smile on my face right now. So these will be the people that will go up to them, in this day and age. Oh, y'all ain't black enough. So I guess Motown was just done based on the limb,
right?
To get, I guess, Caucasoid going.
Yeah, no, I mean, my mother, I went to church with Berry Gordy.
Okay.
And my mother knew Berry. She grew up around the corner from from Berry Gordy, and in the same neighborhood as Smokey and Aretha. Aretha grew up across the street from her, and then around the block when they moved into a big mansion. But uh, um, so at every Easter, Berry Gordy Sr. made his son come to church, and Berry Gordy would then tell his every Motown artist, "You got to come to church." So back in the 60s and 70s, man, the first limousine that would park that would be parked alongside of the church was Berry Gordy's. Right behind him was Marvin Gaye in a white Rolls Royce. And then all the other artists, there would be limousines parked like 2 blocks deep of all the Motown artists that would come to church on Easter Sunday, all because Berry Gordy Sr. told his son, "You are going to come to church one time a year," and it was Easter.
So I like that.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, buts, and no complaints.
Listen, I come from a family of educated and a family of business people. So my other grandfather controlled a large part of the Policy Bank in Detroit. And so I come from 2 sides of what was going on, and they came together, and that's what Detroit was about anyway. But you know, my grandfather that controlled the Policy Bank funded C.L. Franklin.
Okay.
Gave money to my mother was best friends with Betty Shabazz. They went to Betty Shabazz also grew up around the corner. They went to elementary school all the way through high school together. They walked together to church, to the AME church, because Betty Shabazz was a member of AME before she met Malcolm X. And so, I mean, we went to the mosque as well. So, I mean, yeah, when you got people claiming Smokey Robinson isn't this, or Berry Gordy isn't this. I mean, we've just gone haywire.
Oh, most definitely. And it just went just totally the opposite direction. Far more than we think.
Yeah.
And we didn't think that it was, and we probably, and well, I'll say probably for me that I probably should have been, getting definitely well more equipped to sort of saying that, yo, this is where it's gonna go, and we're gonna be the vocal point the moment we walk into a room, whether you're an MLS man or a woman. Like, you don't even have to do anything, but they're gonna blame you for something, and you're gonna be someone on the chopping block, like the movie The Truman Show. We sitting here thinking
that. I hear about that all the time. I never saw that show.
The Truman Show?
Yeah, actually, it's a movie with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Where he plays a stage actor, like living a regular family life on here. But what he doesn't know is that he's being manipulated and masterminded by his own boss.
Okay. Yeah.
So he thinking that, well, I'm entertaining these people for the sake of entertaining, but there's something that comes with it, and it's not necessarily beneficial for him. So that ended up causing a divorce within his own regular family.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he finally put the pieces together, see what was really going on, he basically just put his 2 fingers up and said, "Pete, deuces."
Right.
Walked away from it altogether. And it's like, yeah.
And that's basically what we've been saying on here tonight. that
Okay,
we're so
drama
frustrated with.
7.
Yeah.
Oh, I was reading a comment. Drama 7 television says latest census says 4.2 million identified as black/white.
Okay.
I'm like,
Well, it's growing. I mean, and I listen, if we were to get a category for MLS people, it would probably be more like 15 million would claim it. I guarantee you that if we got any category that said anything about being mixed, like we're talking about, brown and beige, or the golden sphere, or Creole, or whatever terminology you placed us under, I guarantee you it would be more like 8, 10, 12, 15 million people that would claim that's what they are.
Quick question though, Thunder. Do you think without incentive they would do so?
Yeah, because
so?
on a census,
okay,
where nobody's even checking this, it's just you that's
oh, so you're speaking more so about the anonymous part of it.
Well, okay, what were you asking again?
I'm just saying, you're saying if they had that on a census as a possible selection, you think it would be a lot bigger than what the current numbers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, my thing is those that to jump 10, 11 million people, would there be an incentive to do that, or would it just be them wanting to do? I mean, because you got to understand,
it's just
most
them
just
finally being comfortable. I will tell you, I bet you guys have family members that just say, I'm black, I'm not mixed, I'm not this, that, or that, I'm black, blah, blah. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. Like, how many of those would actually do that? That's why I was thinking, like, how would that number even increase so much if you got so many that are going to do that, unless there was incentive involved in it, like I don't know. I know there would be reparations for us.
I just think that make them more comfortable to come out and recognize that.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, because right now, and then, yeah, I just think, it would make them, it would give them more confidence. Because for us who get on these panels and talk, and even though we may not show pictures of ourselves, even though you can find pictures of us somewhere, we're confident in who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I speak up and I don't let anybody question me. So I think if that were to be the case, it would give more people confident in themselves, in their being, in to recognize themselves, right? Because if you're faced in an all black crowd, like I can tell you, I have a nickname amongst my friends. And that nickname is attributed to me being so light. But my friends will tell you that Kevin he does not deny any part of him. If you ask him his family background, he's going to tell you. And he's not going to deny not one piece, not one ethnic side of his family. And don't get in his face, because he's liable to hit you. Because I just never have, I have always been given that strength from my parents, from my family members. You are who you are. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I just think if that were on the census, I guarantee you it would be more than that 4-point-something million that they're saying is now. Look how much that has grown just since it's been on the census. Because what was it before?
Not sure, but I'm pretty sure it may have been, maybe, let's see. So the last one was 2020. So maybe if you go back to 2010, probably maybe half.
Yeah.
Maybe half.
So I use my friend his address in the U.S. So the census came. He's like, okay, what do you want me to put down? Because I know, yeah, I'm not putting black down for you, just black. I said, you're damn straight. I said, this is what you're putting down for me. This, and this. He said, yeah, I knew you were gonna come up with some bullshit. You know, because we go back and forth, but that's how my friends know. Look, you're not putting me in a box. You're not putting me in a box. The box is gonna be what I define the box as, right? So when the census came, and for that household, you know, he said, okay, what am I putting down for you? And I told him, I said, this is what you're gonna put down: French, Irish, black, and I can't claim Indian. It didn't come across on my DNA, so I know that's what the family says, but I can't claim that. So, but all my friends will tell you, and I got a ton of friends that I am still friends with today. 10 of us that all grew up together, and they will say, okay, don't play that with Kevin, because Kevin's going to tell you who he is. He's still us. He's still family, but he's going to let you know who he is.
Okay, I'm reading I'm reading some of these comments in the chat, and for an example, any one of y'all know who Ellen Holly is?
No, I don't know any. I'm just seeing this. Where's the chat? Let me see. Where's the chat? Oh, Ellen Holly. Okay, I see that. Do you guys know who Ellen is? She said she was mixed. Like, man, no, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so I had to pretty much Google her myself, and she was an actress, and I believe she was with what's that dude's name? Ron Holly, and definitely Harry Belafonte. And she also, I think, was saying that a lot of MGMs say they don't identify as mixed race. And I don't, you know, again, because at the end of the day, it's really up to them on what they want to identify as.
But you know, this is but haven't you guys, since we're MGMs, right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
So here's the deal. I'm not mixed. I don't care. Even a mixed person isn't mixed, but I get it, because you got one black parent, one white parent. And so my family, like our families, have not had one white parent and one black parent for generations.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I know it's what my dad's mom, so it's there. so
yeah.
I'm saying, okay, it's there, but mine goes back to my great grandfather.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, but the DNA is there though. So
I'm not denying that. I'm not.
Yeah, it's just the culture. It's just growing up in the culture, and for you, Thunder, you know, you are a senior. Like for you went through like the changes of America in Black America. So you got all of that history. That's nothing you can just turn away from.
We were Negro.
Yep.
And then James
colored.
Brown. Well, yep, colored. We were colored. Yep. Then we were Negro. And then James Brown or Jesse Jackson came up with black or something like that. Somebody came up.
Yeah, I'm black and I'm proud. Yeah,
I'm black and I'm proud. Listen, I brought the first James Brown album in South Carolina when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I said, because James Brown was jamming, right? And he's from South Carolina or Georgia or something like that. But I saw that, and then I saw African American, and now we're talking FBA.
Yes,
I have lived through them all. Trust me, I have lived through them all.
And I'm sorry, Bill.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, living through all of that,
it's kind of hard to turn someone off psychologically
Yeah, it
from
is.
living it, experiencing it, and actually being, an elder of a situation or a person that really can teach history the right way. And to just turn, to say, oh, well, you're not that. Just turn away from it. Like, what are you talking
Right.
about? It's
Right.
wild to see, but it's kind of, in a way, I'm not going to lie, in a way, when you really think about it historically, and as weird as it may sound, I don't know if you were calling it balancing this things out, I guess, from the history of America for those that want
I
to
think
delineate back to themselves. I get that part. I get that part from saying, yeah, I'm this, we're this, and that's what it is. I get that part. But then you can't deny, you can't just turn off somebody's like ethnic and historical, upbringing and just say, well, you're not that.
right.
That's,
Right.
that's crazy.
Listen, you know what? I was going to tell you guys this. I grew up in a cocoon. One being my family, the other being Detroit. And Detroit is a black city.
Yes.
Was the first chocolate city.
Yes.
And then DC got the term.
Got the term later, yes.
And then now Atlanta has.
Atlanta.
But Detroit was called the first chocolate city, right? And like I said, I don't have any white family members. I don't know white family members, right? And so my uncle has my phenotype, and he used to come up and pick up my cousin when he was playing sports and everything. And if some of the guys were acting up, his father would say, correct them and tell them that they need to behave and do this, that, and the other. And somebody would say to my cousin, who's that white man telling us to? And my cousin would say, that's my father. And he's not white. Right. And so it is the history. I forgot where I was going with it in a way, but it is the history of going there, and you can't tell somebody you're not. I know where I was going. The first time I didn't know that I looked different from everybody else was when I went to school in Arizona. Because I knew I'm walking around Detroit. I'm like, everybody knows I'm black. Right? And it wasn't until I got to Arizona that people started to look at me. I was around a lot of white people. And they were looking at me like I was white. And I was looking at them like, what? I couldn't figure it out because I had grown up in this cocoon.
Yes.
I thought everybody could just look at me and see, oh, that's a black dude. Because everybody in my neighborhood knew who I was. Everybody, my family is huge. And so it wasn't until I got to Arizona that I realized that I looked different. That was a shock. That was a shock. And so now I do understand why people look at me differently. But like you say, it's hard for me to take me out of that mode of thinking.
Yeah. Like that's what created your whole, the identity and of who you are. And that's not something you can just easily push away from. You can learn to deal with it and learn that things go on and things change, but it's always something that's going to be a part of you. Deeply rooted. And for people to think, well, you can just up and leave that. Yeah, if I do, then I'm going to leave a lot of other stuff too, including access to me and resources and all the things that's good. I'll leave that too if that's how it's going to be. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I understand exactly what you're saying, and because it describes exactly what I've went through in life and how I feel.
Yep. And it's not personal. It's not anger. It's actually love. It's actually self-love, but also showing that the only way to bridge gaps like that is through respect, mutual respect, and understanding. Like hypocrisy is not going to stand in any occasion for anybody. It's never going to stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, but I do think though that if we had a category, if there was a category on the census that said colored, multi-generationally mixed, Creole, whatever the term, whatever it was that defined us, I guarantee you it would double. At least it would double. I just know too many people that are living within the confines, because when you grow up in a majority Black area and you have to defend yourself based on color, you become, like you said, Carl, and then it's like that. What do they say that syndrome is?
Stockholm.
Stockholm
Stockholm syndrome.
syndrome.
You
Yeah.
become like, and you don't want to admit to who you are fully as an
No,
individual,
no,
right?
it's not even about being different. It's more so about not wanting to separate from self.
Right.
That's the scary thing. Like to actually psychologically say I have to separate from self, because for the rest of my life, if things are going through towards this trajectory, I won't survive in any capacity. I'm going to diminish myself by being
Exactly.
around this energy for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
I must separate and let people know this is where I'm at right now for
Yeah.
myself.
For
I don't care
yourself.
what you gave me when I was younger or what I had,
Yeah.
what I learned, what you taught me to be. This is what I've been shown to be, and this is where I have to move. Like you say, you then at that point, you're not afraid to move along. You're not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
people saying being close to the Most High, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. Like,
Oh, it's
yeah,
definitely you have spoken truth.
yeah,
And for people psychologically to avoid depression sometimes, I
yes,
think need to understand what you just said,
yeah,
because that drives people to a depression.
yes.
And
Oh, I
not
know it has
only,
for me. I know it has for me. It was just one aspect of depression, but still, identity
but here's
and,
the deal.
and
It's not
group
only
dynamics and stuff. And yeah,
it's not only the light-skinned Black person that falls into the depression, it's the dark-skinned Black person that falls into the
yes,
depression.
yes,
And so with this FBA thing, I think it's Black people maturing. And
yes,
within that delineation, I mean, we have been on this channel talking about MGMs before I even knew about FBA.
yeah. Well,
And
who was it? ADOS was first, and then
right,
what's his name kind of branched off from that, and he created his own, and that's a larger following now. But
right,
it dates back around the same time.
right,
On
right.
yeah,
But I think it's a maturity that we're going through right now. I think
Mhm.
it's just another level of maturing for Black Americans to be able to because when I hear this younger generation talking about, oh, we know we were enslaved, you just don't know how happy that makes me feel, because we're finally coming to the grips with the fact that we know what happened to us, and we're no longer going to be defined, confined, constricted by that. And we're going to make it empowering. We know who we are. We know what happened. And when I hear the young people talking about that, and they're getting into arguments with Africans and Caribbeans over it, I will tell you, I am happy to hear it, because I have never denied that. I have always known that. And I think it's it's a level of freeing of the mind. I always said that Black people have chains on their brain. They may not have chains around their ankles and their wrists. They certainly got chains on their brain that
Yeah,
prevent
because
them from moving forward. This
yeah,
FBA movement
yeah,
has kind of taken those as loosened the chains. They may have taken it off, but it's kind of loosened the chains.
yeah, because you come to realize that it's a case by case basis with other groups of people, but for the most part, everybody has their pride and their heritage and their lineage. They may be a part of a larger diaspora, but they still hold true to who they are, and it's no problem with it. And you should not just feel, you should identify and act accordingly the same way. And it's not out of separation, it's more so just being self. Like, the whole idea of it was others coming in to tell you who yourself is. And basically when that happens, subconsciously and consciously, people just naturally tend to continue to do that. So like you said, the waking up, like that, yeah, that's just a normal way to be. Like, every person on the planet does that, you know. Why is it just this one group of people that people are so offended by them not doing the same? I just never got that. It makes no sense. It makes no human sense to me.
Right. And it's only you know, it's only the YT and the BLK people that want to keep the categories in place. But I think that having a FBA category and having an MGM category gives us our power back, because then, as was it, who was showing now? I was watching something out. I don't know if it was, did you guys put something up earlier where now it is showing that people are Jamaican? It's Black American, Jamaican, and it wasn't your channel, it was somebody else, and Nigerian, etc. And they were breaking it down to identify who the true Black Americans were on some. Oh, it was a college. It was a filling out some college financial aid application. That's what it was. And so I was watching a different channel before I got on here, and they had pulled up something that said, now the wider American audience is on to mimicking FBA talking points, because now the application for financial aid is asking specifically where you're from, so they don't have to give out financial aid to foreigners who are not Black Americans. So,
oh yeah, it's wow, it was a lot was unpacked, in ways that I didn't even think, would ever be. Again, you've been, again, once you've been told or, had stuff done to you, for so long, which I'm all for, again, having the category for us, in general. So maybe, and again, so that we don't necessarily get caught in the crossfires of when it comes to the BLK and even the Wyatts, always, being at the forefront of these specific specific ones leading the charge, and it's like, and again, and even in America, it is definitely a melting pot. Definitely a melting pot.
I mean, we can't reverse what's going on.
No,
we're not going to reverse it.
Because this is the only thing, again, especially even for me, it's like the only thing that I could do is just, again, just try to move forward and be the best human being, possible. Oh, what's up, Blasian? And yeah, again, maybe some of this, tension will sort of start to die down. Maybe not all the way.
Well, when Carl was talking about what triggered that thought, and you say maybe it'll die down, I don't think it's going to die down. I think it's human nature. I think the discussion we're having is a discussion that's been going on ever since the first Black and white people stepped foot on the shores of this land. Because here's another interesting point. I get tired of people talking about how interracial relations were legalized after Loving. Loving was only in Virginia. I can tell you that I have read books going back to the 15th, 16th, 17th century where the commingling in the South happened as soon as the races were brought together. And it wasn't until whites that came over and felt that they had to some nationality came over and said, "Oh, we got to stop this." So in 1700s, it was made illegal in certain states, in southern states. And then because if it had been illegal, I wouldn't be here. We would not even be here, right? So the interracial mixing has been going on forever, and that's why I say that the arguments that we're having have been going on ever since that started as well. You can't tell me that the light skin, the dark skin has not been going on as soon as the first MGM person popped out the womb and whatever 1500 1600 in this country. You can't tell me that. Hell, the Moors were controlling Spain, Portugal in 700 AD. So what do you think happened there?
Alien, and also even Sicily.
Right. So, hey guys, I'm an hour ahead of you guys, so it's almost 3 o'clock here. I gotta call it.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh wow, we done went for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I was gonna go ahead and call it a night myself.
Well,
and I appreciate you guys hopping on and exchanging dialogue and vice versa.
it's always good to get up here and have that conversation.
Yeah, productive conversation.
Right. Wasn't no effery or buffoonery.
Right.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. I had dropped, I don't know if you guys subbed to him, Mulatto Mindset, makes some good content. He's live right now.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah,
FYI,
I see.
Just FYI, yeah. I might check him out in a little bit for a while.
Yeah, I might go on there and see what's going on, but like I said, it's 3 o'clock here.
I got you. Okay.
Hey Carl, but listen, this is the first time I had a chance to talk with you. I always see you on the lives. Even sometimes I'm not up there, but I see you in the chat. It was really good to talk with you, man.
It was a pleasure talking to you too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And AMR knows the first time I ever came on a stream was when he had a live about, I don't know how long. It was a while back when he first started.
Oh yeah. During that time, I think it was in between COVID.
Right. Yeah. So it's always good to get up here and talk with you guys. So have a good night.
All righty, you too.
Good night too, sir.
All right.
Like, wow, Blazier, hey, yo, man. Like, hey, I've been here for like almost about 3 hours, man.
Dropped again.
Oh,
well, I can't hear. So I'm out. If you can hear me, AMR, I'm gonna go ahead and drop down because I don't know what's going on with not signing in and having sound issues. But
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop down.
All right, then, bro. But yeah, though, and I want to thank the people in the chat too. I know it's been so long since I've done one of these, and I'm starting to get my feet wet, and don't know, again, when my next stream or my next video is going to be. But again, make sure y'all comment, like, subscribe, what have you. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I just figured, again, like even for us, for the most part, for MLS men and as well as MLS women, that, I'm still going to have love for you. Because hell, if I didn't, that would be like not, I wouldn't be having this much love even for myself. I would be doing myself a disservice. So And also, you know, again, even for, you know, Brown and Beige, hey, bro, you know, hey, thank you for even giving me the chance to even hop on, you know, getting on your stream the other night. Cause and hey, maybe, and again, hey, maybe, you know, again, once we get, you know, a category for ourselves, hell, even in the census, you know, hell, let's go ahead and lead that charge. Like we're leading the charge regarding these conversations. Yeah, others gonna be leading the charge in the conversations too. And again, you know, we're not, and again, we can either agree to disagree. All I know is that I know where I stand. All right, there, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get up on out of here. Again, thanks everybody, and Drama 7, a long time no see. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.